Hey guys, it's Tony.
Hey, this is Ollie.
And I'm JJ of Row, and you're listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast.
All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and today I have the true honor and privilege to present to you another phenomenal interview. And in today's episode, it is with none other than the premier spot, the premier group, the premier entity that you need to know of and to follow. And that is the group known as Residents of Evil, aka Row. And I've got the honor and privilege of being able to have on the three members who effectively run the group, and that is JJ, Ali, and my man Tony. Tony, you know I had to throw that in there. So with that being said, we're going to talk about Resident Evil, the video game that they've had made called Vigil, things that they've been able to do on their channel, such as interviews, the Row podcast, the community, how they got started, where they're planning to go, and so much more. This is going to be one of the premier podcasts that I've ever had the honor of doing. And so with that being said, if you're ready to do it, I'm ready to do it. Let's go ahead and welcome Ali, JJ, and Tony onto the show. All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and I'm coming at you with another phenomenal interview with having the honors and privilege of having Residents of Evil on the show. Guys, please go ahead and introduce yourselves. It's such an honor to have you on. Love your work. And the fans out here in Hawaii love you guys' work.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for having us on, man. I'm JJ.
All right. Come on, guys. Don't be nervous. Let's bring that energy. Come on.
I thought he was going to say something like, hi, I'm JJ and I do this and that. But no,
make videos. Edit make videos.
I'm Ollie, your guy that does the interviews and some of the live streams and some of the podcasting, stuff like that.
Okay.
And I am Tony. I am the guy who wears sunglasses at night and does a lot of coke for the streams.
Hype man.
Yeah! Makes all the loud noises.
Yep.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew and coke.
Oh my God, you guys!
This is gonna be a long night.
Hey, sometimes it's like that. You need that energy.
Yep.
Oh man, go ahead. Give a brief background on your guys' selves, and also plug and tell people where they can find you. You know, any type of upcoming ventures, or if we're gonna, possibly see you guys out here in Hawaii at a convention.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, we're all over on the internet. We primarily do podcasts and YouTube. So youtube.com/ROE network. And we have social media too. It's all ROE network, so you can follow us there. But basically, longtime Resident Evil fan, sort of followed the series over the years and got a little active on social media when Resident Evil 2 remake was first brought up back in 2012. I want to say that's the first time they talked about it. And I remember the hype was starting. They said basically if the fans ask politely, they'll do it. And then so I got online to see if there's anything I could sort of do to help get the Resident Evil 2 to be remade, since it was my favorite game of all time. And started the Residents of Evil, and it was just kind of a community for Resident Evil fans, and share our passion for the series. That's kind of where I kind of got into sort of the community side of things.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm over here closing my door. Yeah, I got background noise going on.
Oh, he's gone.
I let's see, I think it was about 2016 or 15. I can't remember. I got into streaming, I'd been aware of streaming for a long time, but it was nothing I never personally pursued.
Mm-hmm.
And being a lifelong Resident Evil fan, been gaming all my life, so I wanted to jump into that and just kind of hang out and play games with people and develop this little community of a fan base where people would feel welcome and accepted and enjoy their time. Never feel like they're being pressured to be something different or, any issues with drama. I wanted to encourage people to kind of come together and, get their negativities out and, be part of something bigger and better that's healthier. And over time, I was doing a campaign of Resident Evil games, working up to Resident Evil 7, and I started looking for other communities to reach out to kind of build some momentum behind it and get into that community. And I met JJ briefly through one of his Facebook pages and just kind of relatively stayed in contact occasionally. And I started commenting on some of his work, and we had a similar mindset, so we talked. And he asked me to come on and be an admin to the Row Facebook page, which I joined. And then he approached me with the idea for the podcast, so I ended up joining the full Row team, and we went from there.
Cool.
All right, sorry, give me a second. Oh my God. So after my father and I failed to get the Holy Grail from the Nazis, I'm confusing my life again for Indiana Jones.
Oh my God. All over the place, Tony.
Yeah, I love it.
As you guys will probably know by now, I am very never serious, and I'm always the guy making people laugh. No, I have been a fan of Resident Evil since the beginning. The first time I ever saw it was actually at launch. It was at a KB Toys, and the box art is kind of what just drew me to it, and I didn't really know what it was, and so I got it, and just from right there, I just fell in love with the series. It was really something special. Like I hadn't really played games like that before that was so immersive, and as the years went on, I joined various sites on DeviantArt because I'm an artist, photographer, and I've worked with so many great cosplayers that do Resident Evil cosplays and throughout the years, and Resident Evil is my favorite series tied with Metal Gear. So eventually, going through different social medias, I ended up with joining the Residents of Evil, and it was kind of just from there we got to do what we love, have fun. JJ does great with the edits. I created a series called Rage Against the Game where you can see any of us play these games and hilarious stuff happens, like a montage stuff, and Ali does all the cool, he pretty much kidnaps people's families and lets them until they agree to come on our show. Then he gives them back because he's really good at that, but he's very persuasive. But no, we just I just joined, and I didn't know really where I felt fit in with all this. I guess I was just the hype man or just the guy who did cocaine on the side to get everybody else hyped up. But it's just we wanted to we just really wanted to create a community because there's a lot of communities out there where people don't monitor the stuff that's going on, and I'm not trying to put any communities down or anything like that because the internet's such a freaking huge place. But, we have assembled a great cast of moderators and friends that work to keep everything peaceful. And it gives me and Ali and JJ the time to do the amazing stuff we're able to do when we don't have to worry about what's happening behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So, we can be funny, we can be creative, we can talk to everybody, and it's just fantastic.
Yep. I love the energy.
Oh, that's good energy, all right.
Oh, it is so perfect because there's no filter on this show, so I love it. I just energy. I'm because okay, I'll just put it out there, and this is not to put on blast when I previously had on my podcast, but there's very few people that really come to the show with the amount of energy you guys have, and I love it because I'm a spontaneous person and I can bounce off the walls with anyone, but some people just don't have it, and I'm oh, okay, I need to rein it a little bit in, but you guys, no. Because
people just sit back and maybe do a little cocaine and everything right before a show. That's what rock stars do. How do you think AC/DC did it for years and everything,
Rock stars. Trying to be a rock star, man.
We're the real rock stars. That's who we are.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Oh, my God.
All right, now we got to have that drawn. We got to have our art guys get on that. Us as rock stars.
Oh man! So what are some of the interests that you guys have? Like some interests and hobbies, or things you guys enjoy that possibly the audience may not know about you.
That's a good question.
Okay, cocaine's one we know.
Yes. For all of us. No, no. I mean, I work, and then my days off, I enjoy playing games or hanging out with my family, going out to our cottage, swimming. Nothing too crazy. Not as crazy as Tony over here, but yeah, I just I play a little bit of games here and there, but he's got more hobbies than I do. But yeah, no, I primarily play like the Resident Evil series. I can go back to over and over. It never gets old. I don't play as much as I used to, but yeah, that's pretty much. Can't think of anything crazy I do that nobody really knows about me. I do talk a lot during my live stream, so everybody kind of understands. But yeah, that's my interest is Resident Evil and some games and hanging out with my family. I'm boring. not as wild as Tony.
Yeah, I was in the military for quite a long time, and when I got out, I transitioned from the job I was doing in the service to civilian side.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a creative person. I like basically anything that involves art, whether it's experiencing it, like watching movies or playing games, to creating, doing graphics, drawing pictures, stuff like that. So I got to a point where I'd been doing my job, which is biomedical engineering, for 12 years as a civilian. No, well, 12 years total. 8 years as a civilian. And I got to a wall where I was just unhappy with everything that involved my job all the time, and it was affecting my personal life with my family. So after some discussion and figuring out if we were able to, I was able to just kind of back off my job and just focus on going to school full time, going back into creative field, doing some graphic design stuff. And that's kind of what I'm focused on now, is just family life and doing school, and then creating content for the row and for the community.
And as for me, pretty much, I was a cop in New York for a long time, and then after an incident in a skyscraper fighting terrorists in L.A., I decided to leave the job. Oh wait, shit! I'm confusing my life with Die Hard again. Shit, hold on. Okay. All right, yeah, let's go kick some babies. All right. No, don't kick babies. Unless they're evil. Unless they're evil babies. Like Hitler evil.
Oh my God.
No, I am a photographer full time, and I go to conventions, and I also do more than just cosplay. I do modeling, boudoir, headshots, pretty much sporting events, anything that people need, I shoot. And I went to school for it in my high school years. I actually didn't go to a traditional high school, I went to a trade school because I couldn't do regular schoolwork because of a serious learning disability that I have. And so I went to a school that specialized in various different trades, and my dad wanted me to go for carpentry, but I don't trust myself with sharp objects, so for good reason. Plus, all the people that ever built anything in those shops anyway just built bongs out of everything. But no, I eventually found my way into a photography and advertising department in the school for 4 years, and it was great. And when I got out, I kind of just got into the restaurant business. I was working, I did stuff like bartending, I did serving, hosting, and did photography on the side. And then years later, when my dad got worse, I came home to take care of him, and at that time, I get paid to take care of him as well as my photography, which helps do a lot. And I've changed a lot of lives doing it, and it's always been a fantastic thing for me to do. And for years as well, I'm a huge video game addict. I mean, like, if you're gonna compare my Coke addiction to my video game addiction, okay, even Scarface would overdose right now. That's where we're at here, people. We're through the looking glass. No, we're I've been collecting video games long before it was ever really a thing. Like, I just got all games when I was a kid. I did everything I could to buy them, and I have like over 1,000 physical games. I've got a pretty expensive Sega Saturn library, and it's just something I really like to do. And when I'm not, fighting terrorists or doing coke and shit, I just have my friends come over and we get together and we play Mario Party all the time, or a bunch of other 4-player games like we all did as kids, like Halo, and you would boot up the old Halo and everything, and
good times.
It's a life I've fought hard to get, and it's not perfect, but it could be a lot worse. This Coke could, be not pure and uncut. Then I would be really sad, and I'd have to do more, and then my heart could explode because I went over the limit.
We don't want that.
Nope.
God, I swear if we had a camera
People
on
are literally going to be listening to this, and they're going to be like, I don't know what is real from this guy and what is make-believe.
Seriously, people have no idea. They're like, well, this guy's interesting.
Like, they just know me as the loudmouth from Boston. That's pretty much it. And it's like, you know what? We're too afraid to second guess this guy because he might actually go fight terrorists somewhere. I mean, honestly, if on my wedding, if terrorists don't invade my wedding, I'm going to be sorely pissed.
God, I can't keep a straight face.
My job is done here. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God.
I may have also had like half of like a huge bag of Sour Patch Kids before this too, so that also doesn't help.
I'll do it.
Yo, okay, I gotta go ahead and give you guys the award. This is the most hype interview within the first 15 fucking minutes I've ever done.
We're gonna go a lot further than this, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so exactly how big is Row? Like, in the sense of how many community members do you guys have, and you know, how often do you guys get to like work with like Capcom or with voice actors? Because you guys are honestly considered, like, and rightfully so, like the definitive and the biggest Resident Evil group out there. The world.
Well, blackmail helps, you know.
Blackmail, yep.
No, I'll let JJ start off this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Row has grown over the, I started the Facebook page about 5 years ago, but I started the YouTube channel a little over 2 years ago, and it's definitely, gone over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Our page, I believe, between all the pages, I mean, we got thousands of people on there, and it's just all very passionate Resident Evil fans that, are very similar to us. And it's crazy. Like, when I started, I just wanted to ramble off some of my ideas and do some live streams. I never expected it to get to where it was, or to where it is now, where we're getting the voice actors to come play Resident Evil games with us on the channel. Like, it's such a surreal experience. It's insane that it's gotten this far. But yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful and grateful that we have such an awesome audience that is, kind of grew over 2 years. But yeah, as far as the voice actors and everything, I'll pass that to Ali, because that's kind of his part of the role.
When Vendetta was coming out, I remember I was following the Facebook page for it, and I saw who the actors were, so I kind of keep an eye on them, and I realized that most of the actors for Power Rangers were in some form or fashion. So I started following their pages to kind of see what they were up to and what was going to happen with this movie and what it was about. And my first guest that I reached out to was Erin Cahill. She took over as Rebecca for Vendetta, and she was very open to the idea of doing an interview and doing some promo for the movie, and I got to know her a little bit, so we set up the interview, and that kind of inspired me and pushed me to start looking to be like, okay, who else can I get a hold of? So I found a bunch of sites that gave information if you paid for them. So it's not from the dark web, I promise. They're legal sites.
Right. Legal. Wink,
legal.
wink.
Yeah, wink, wink. But anyways, through those, I was able to find contact information for managers, agents, publishing companies, any way in form or fashion of people I can talk to get in contact the next level. I've always avoided doing it directly over social media because I feel it's puts them in an awkward position, and myself to open, hey, come on our podcast, and stuff like that. So I try and do it privately. And so far, mostly everybody that's come on has been very open and accepting and encouraging to it. I've had a few that, well, there's quite a few that never come on, and there's quite a few that will say they come on and they don't. Things happen. I
Trust
understand.
me,
So,
I've been through that.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how it is to book guests.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was good feedback for Aaron. And then I landed Kevin, who played Chris in the movie, who voiced Chris. And then we ended up pulling the big one for Allison Court. Again, I don't know how I do this. I tell everybody maybe it's just because I'm tenacious and I'm respectful, and I understand that they're professionals, and it's a good opportunity to bridge the gap between the fans and the actors more than they already have. So
yeah.
But it took off from there. I developed a list of a bunch of people, and I got into a rotation of emailing a cold email, which is a specific format, and respectfully, requesting and explaining who we are and all this stuff, and that's how it just took off. And I tried to keep a steady flow of what's going on in the community for people that they want to see, as well as like big events. Like obviously RE2 Remake comes out, so I want to go after the whole cast from that. Or Capcom-wise, Devil May Cry comes out, so I go after the Devil May Cry cast. In the downtimes is when I start digging into the history of the actors that I can. It's just a matter of who's available and where it goes from there.
Okay.
Yeah, and for me, like, I'm actually going to be serious because this is actually something I really do love being a part of this community, and that is the...
I want to be serious.
I got you! Oh, God, the Coke's taking over. Christopher Walken's coming out. Oh, God. So many amazing questions and people everywhere. Love you. Fever rising. No, the thing is, this community is really unreal to me because you guys, like the fans and people who come to it, are like super respectful. You love the things we do, and the big thing for me, like I go to conventions, so I try to meet everybody I can, and I actually, at Kineticon a couple weeks ago, I crashed a Resident Evil shoot. I knew the photographer doing the shoot, so I was like, can I just step in for a quick second? And, I was wearing the Rose shirt. And I was like, ladies and gentlemen, sorry to bother your shoot for a second here, but my name's Tony. I'm from the Residents of Evil. And they looked at me like they kind of knew me. I was like, oh, wait, hold on. Took the sunglasses out of my back pocket, slid them on. They're like, oh, shit, it's Tony! And like people are like coming up to me like they all swarmed me. I'm shaking hands. I'm like, man, I'm gonna need like 2 extra arms. There's a lot of people here, and like people are taking selfies with me and stuff. They're asking for my picture, and I got into like a big group shoot with them, and it was really cool, to be seen like that. And then there's other people that had come up to me at the convention that follow me on Twitter and the row itself, and they're asking, oh, it's like, is JJ here? Is Ali here? Did you guys come together? And it's just. The respect and love is something I never thought I would get in something like this. Like the love and that the fans have and the questions that they ask and just how cool people are when they come up to you and know you and stuff. And then my other friends are like, dude, I've been sending people to your channel, and they're like, wait a minute, you're friends with Tony. You know him. Like, I love his channel. Like the Resident Evil is awesome. So that really just makes it worth it, because I mean now I know how like these guys feel, because like I was literally waiting in line to see Ruben Langdon at Kineticon, and all of a sudden like a couple people came up to me and they were like, Tony, we're from the row, and I'm like, oh my god, like wait, oh shit, cool, this is I'm like blown away because I'm caught off guard by this. I'm like, wait, someone actually wants to talk to me? What the hell? Like this is nuts. And it's really just been a blessing, and the community is and my team has helped me when I needed it, like really bad. My family needed it, and it's just really crazy, man, like that it came this far and went this far, because some people, they try to do a certain thing and it doesn't go anywhere, and it just happened for us. And I'm thankful for that every day, to be able to do cool stuff like this that people actually care about.
It's when you stop and think about it, like the stuff that you guys are doing, stuff that I'm doing, like we never really see how far it's gonna go. It's kind of one of those situations where it's like, hey, this is fun, I'm enjoying it, let's just do it, see how see what we can do, what comes of it. And it's like you look at, like, let's say jump back 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and then you look at to where you are now. You never would have guessed.
Never would have pictured that. No, and that's the weirdest thing, is I just do it because I love it. I love the series. I love video editing, and it's fun for me. And it's just crazy that many people are interested in the same thing I am. It's just like, whoa, it blows me away every single day. And it's just like, I'm just doing stuff I like doing. I'm playing Resident Evil fan games or talking about Resident Evil. I never would have expected that. And we were all talking about this too during after one of our podcasts, when we got done talking with, I think it was Allison Court, who was Claire Redfield in Resident Evil, too. We're just like, if we could go back to when we were kids first playing Resident Evil, just like blown away by it, and be like, one day you're going to be talking to that person about this game. It just would have melted our minds as kids. It's just so crazy to think that now as adults, we're talking to these people that we've sort of idolized, since we were kids. Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, it really is. Like, I was telling my wife the other day, the other day, when she's like, oh, how's Ruben doing? And I'm like, oh, he's doing good. And I told her, I said, isn't it crazy? She's like, what? I said, I was a kid growing up loving Devil May Cry from like 2001 up until like now, like when 5 came out. I said I was there for each entry as it came out. I was a fan when Ruben came on to do Dante and Devil May Cry 3 and onwards. I said I idolized him, like the character, as a kid. And I said, and then to think about it, the guy has a key to our house and he's like staying at our house. We go and hang out.
Staying at your house?
Yeah, well, yeah. When he comes out to Hawaii, he stays with us.
Oh, I didn't know that, man. That's insane.
Yeah, it's just like
that is so cool.
You stop and think, like I stop and think about that, and I'm like, that's fucking insane. Like I never would have guessed that.
Never would have predicted that. Hanging out with Dante himself. He's in your house. That's awesome, dude. But yeah, that's just like, it's the internet. There's so many possibilities. You could do almost whatever you want on the internet. If you enjoy something and you're passionate about something, you just got to do it and look what happens, It doesn't always happen, but I don't know. It's just crazy to think that you can get to a point where Dante himself is hanging out at your house.
I mean, seriously, like we went around to a couple places and people would pop up to me and they're like, hey, is that Dante? I was like, yeah.
I guess it is.
Like,
he's my buddy.
Right? Like we went over to
he goes by Ruben, but yeah.
He goes by
right? Like we went over to GameStop, the one down the street from my house, and like one of the guys there, his name is Royce. He's such a huge like Ken and Dante fan, and we walked in the store. I was like Ruben, I said, just go over there. It's just look at this wall. Just turn around so no one can see. He's like, well, okay. He said, sure. And so I was like, Royce, and he's like, what? I said, turn around, look. He's like, what? I said, does this guy look familiar to you?
Mind blown.
It seriously was.
That's awesome.
Right.
But yeah, like, I mean, it's amazing, like, the stuff that you guys have been doing as a passion, as something that has grown astronomically. And I mean, over the last couple of years, you've grown astronomically, and it's inspiring for me, especially as a content creator, as a fan of Resident Evil, fan of, Devil May Cry. And just, to see that you guys, you get to work with the voice actors, you got the recognition, you've got the fan base, like it's monumental, and it's inspiring.
It's like a dream come true for us, honestly.
Definitely. And I gotta ask you guys, what's your favorite Resident Evil title?
Oof. We'll let you guys start with this one first.
Well, mine and yours are the same, too.
Yep.
And for me, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
It's like I can just answer for him.
Yeah, no, this is a big year for me. So this is
20 years.
Big deal. Yeah.
And for me, obviously, we all know it's Resident Evil Gaiden on the Game Boy Color.
Yes.
Any fucking way.
Survivor.
Oh God, I love that Operation Raccoon City.
Greatest game ever made.
Oh, God,
No, you're all wrong. You're all wrong. Umbrella Corps is the best. Go eat a dick.
Oh God, no, Resident Evil 2, the original, hands down. That's what got me into the series, man. All the nostalgia, everything. I play that game today and love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Oh man!
And I guess it got me from going from playing Super Nintendo games to, I would say,
Becoming a real man.
Yeah, to a real man. It really was.
I kind of see that too. Growing up, I never personally owned a console. Somebody I knew always had one, and they never used it, so I would usually just bogart and take over it. But I didn't really consider to be a gamer, I guess. Like, I played video games, and I love video games, but I didn't really understand what a gaming person was, like what a gamer was. And it wasn't until probably I played 2 that I started to evolve into a video game person. Like, I played games, but it just wasn't the same. Like, I played the ton of Mortal Kombat. I loved Mortal Kombat. GoldenEye, Mario, all the classics. But it was about that time when I guess PlayStation was still relatively new, and they were introducing that there's more than just, running a guy across the map. There's actually stories involved. And there's characters you can relate to and enjoy and connect with. So, and during that time period, we had games like Resident Evil, we had Metal Gear, we had Silent Hill all coming out, and those are really what pushed me into enjoying, more narrative-driven, real games.
Yeah, it's very true on that, because like I've always said for years, like people ask like when did like gaming really become a thing for you? And for me, it was always since I was a little kid with the the NES, the Game Boy, Super Nintendo, but PlayStation was that huge graphic leap. This was new territory for not just us, but the people manufacturing and engineering these games.
Yeah.
Like, you look at things like, like stuff, like any of the Final Fantasy 7,
like
Crash Bandicoot. Yeah.
Yep.
All those games that like came out during that era were really something, and some still have franchises going to this day. So that was really like where you could see that games weren't just for little kids and everything. There was a serious narrative for a lot of these games, and some darker tone games. And then, Duke Nukem started getting games on there, and we saw like what that went from on like those DOS computers to the PlayStation and such.
Yeah.
So it was just like it was a marvelous time for it, because if Resident Evil had come out on anything else before that, I don't think it would have been as successful.
Mm-mm. It was like perfect timing and everything, and I was 8. It was like right at that perfect age to where you kind of remember that stuff, for the rest of your life. And I just remember it was weird because I have a lot of cousins, and I'm all best friends with them, and we were just all. I remember the hype when they first got the PlayStation. We were like, oh my god, this is amazing. We had 2 brand new games. It was Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil 2, and they were both sealed. They're like, what should we play first? Let's try this one. It looks spooky. It looks awesome. Check out these guns. Let's play Resident Evil 2. We booted it in, and we were just like all blown away. We were terrified, but we couldn't stop playing, man. It just pulled us in.
And that's the thing too. Like I remember like the 90s. I remember that transition over from, the Super Nintendo to the Sega Saturn, PlayStation, N64 era. That was a hell of a transition back then, because 3D gaming was really the next echelon that the industry was going towards. And I remember when Resident Evil 1 came out, and I remember it had a lot of people enjoyed it, but 2 really like just blew it out of the water. And then you had so many games that came out at that time. You had the Twisted Metal series, you had Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, exactly.
Love Twisted Metal.
I love Twisted Metal. I would love to have a new one. You had Twisted Metal, you had Siphon Filter, you had Metal Gear Solid, you had Bushido Blade, you had Resident Evil 2. You had so many franchises just dropping. And PlayStation really is, and I know a lot of people keep saying like, oh, Nintendo is what fostered everything to grow into what it is now. They started it, but the original PlayStation was the genesis of a lot of new genres, a lot of new ventures in gaming that had never been done before.
For sure.
Definitely.
But, I mean, and to speak on like how the game industry is now, like what do you guys think like how games are coming out now versus like back then? Me personally, I feel like a lot of games, like they're kind of hit or miss. You got your traditional shooter, you got your traditional RPG, you got your PUBG and Fortnite clones. It's almost feeling like a lot of games are not as creative or as original as they were back then.
I agree, and I think that was because a lot of that stuff for the time was new. Like you said, we were going from Super Nintendo and DOS into like this new territory where we can experience all this stuff for the first time, and now it's like we've done this over and over, and we've used these ideas over and over, It's not going to be as exciting as it was when it first started happening, when it was first booming. I get like one to 2 games that stick with me a year now, and and sometimes not even that, but there's still good games out there. It's just nothing that, and there's still games with stories that blow me away. But just like I said, there was that you have that moment once where, and then after that, it just kind of becomes repetition.
Yeah,
I guess you could say. And there's a lot of games now too. I feel that they're just copy paste, and it's just like where's the the inspiration? Where's these new ideas? Where's the heart? And it's still coming from certain developers. Like, it's still there. It's just, it's far and few, I would say.
Yeah, it really is. I really feel like it was really bad, especially, like, towards the middle to end of the 360 era and the large majority of this current generation. It just felt like there were so many cookie-cutter games. And it was kind of a point for me where I slowly started playing games less. It could be also because like I was graduating college at the time in the early 2010s and adjusting to adult life. Now I'm in my 30s. I'm old now, but it it really felt like gaming they just found a formula and they just ran with it. And it's coming off of the previous generations. Like the PlayStation era was amazing. PlayStation 2 era was mind-boggling. And then the PlayStation 3 and the 360 happened, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it looks shinier, but it's routine. So
yeah, like, I mean, for me, like I said, I've collected video games ever since I was younger, and I've had every system since the NES, and pretty much when you look back at where games started, you could have fun just creating games. And then, like, the console war back in the 90s, that was a time when, like, Nintendo and Sega were really fighting against each other to get you to buy their properties. So what they did was they were just like, you know what, we're going to create amazing games. Maybe some of them are inspirational from like one another and stuff. We're going to create these amazing games to rival the other company. And they wanted the money, but they had the heart. And I feel whereas time has gone on, where video games are now the biggest form of entertainment on the planet, which has outdone movies, TV, and music, you know, you look at how things are being done. Everybody's just trying to make a quick buck and not work as hard on as many games. I mean, there's a lot of questionable decisions with games. I mean, one of the best examples is how they took Resident Evil 6. You know, this was a series about survival horror, and 5, because it sold so well, and even though people complained about it, they're like, well, we're going to do more of it. We're going to give you a Michael Bay film. And if you like 6, that's fine. Believe me, there's things in 6 that I do love too, but it was definitely a step in the wrong direction. And then you got companies that are pumping out games that never had microtransactions before. Like, existing franchises now have microtransactions in them. Or when you look at stuff like Call of Duty, they're literally charging you for DLC that exists in their other games that they can easily just port over and put a new coat of paint on if they have to. So, like, I think one of the biggest ones was that smiley reticle dot. It was like $2 or something. I'm just like, wait a minute. So that exists in the last Call of Duty, but not this one. And me being a fighting game aficionado, I've seen the rise of where fighting games have come from and then what they've become today. And some of them, they think esports. Oh, we gotta get esports. We gotta get our game on the big screen out in Evo and Vegas and stuff. And you know, when you think that way and you try to bring in a casual, that's the big problem. When you think when you want to bring casuals in, that's where mistakes get made in gaming. That's when you alienate your fans of like many years. Like Street Fighter V is one of the best examples of it being done wrong. And one of the best examples of it being done right is Killer Instinct that came out on the Super Nintendo years ago, and when it came back in 2013, it was a free game, 6 characters, and they would give you free access to new characters coming out for a while, and then after a while, they would lock them again, and if you liked them, you would buy them. Then you could buy the whole game at one point when they had like the definitive edition. But, you know, if companies really just took kind of like a step back and realized what they have, and these games that people want, it will work. Because the best example I can give right now on why certain games are making comebacks in franchises is Resident Evil 2 Remake. That was made with some of the original design team from the original second game, but they also brought in fans into the company that ended up working for the company that were fans when they were kids. So they would understand. And Final Fantasy VII Remake is doing the same thing. They're bringing in new blood that grew up with the game, and they got some of the old blood working on it. Mixing those two together can be a good formula because you get a sense of where you need to be. And that's why I think something like Resident Evil 2 Remake was so successful. And even things like Devil May Cry 5 as well. That was extremely successful with the love. Itsuno really cared and wanted to make that game for the gamers. And companies like Yacht Club Gaming, who do Shovel Knight, everything, they were giving like free stuff out for that for years. And that game is monumental by itself. So if it's just how you look at it. If you care about something, don't think about the money. Just make the game, and the money will come. These executives, it's hard to argue with that because a lot of them are older and they just want money. But there's some companies that still believe in giving the fans what they deserve, or not just deserve, but what they want.
Yeah, you can tell when the heart's there.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Do you guys? Oh, go ahead.
So talking about like the industry and stuff and where gaming is today. I think up until probably the last 10 years, it was a privilege, I guess, to work in the gaming industry. Like, if you went to school for it, you should be happy you got a job and you're out there working for a studio. And not allow these studios to take advantage of their employees and just push them to limits to meet deadlines and develop these work environments where there's harassment and assaults and just being abused by the management. But you're starting to see that the employees are realizing they can fight back. They have rights as employees. They're starting to develop their own unions, which is good. So, and that's just like the professional side, talking about the money and stuff. As far as like the gaming goes, we had a shift of something that was very simple, and you weren't like, if you look at a cartridge, there's nothing on those back in the day. If you played a game, if you were lucky, you might get an hour or two out of it before it was done, unless it was an extensive game like Mario or something. But still, these games, even the original Resident Evils, were 2-hour games if you ran them through. And, you know, first time maybe it took you 4 hours, but they're fast games. Now we're fitting these epic 30 to 60 to 100-hour series of games of the story on one format. So they're allowed to do more. But then we've also come to a point where we've told these stories so many times that they're feeling really familiar, even when they're not. Like The Last of Us, as great as my favorite game, as great of a game as it is, really hasn't done anything different from what was already being done. Or Uncharted wasn't anything new in concept, but if you have a good story, good acting, and at least good game mechanics, then you're going to be able to sell it, and I think I'll enjoy it. And I don't really see it too much as like Call of Duty, given they just cut and paste the same system they've been using for years now. But I personally like the campaign. I like to play the campaign to see what the next story is, which they just completely cut out the last one because I guess campaigns aren't important anymore for them.
Yeah, because, you know, like, they're going to say, oh, it's down by $10. I'm like, sorry, you take a story mode out of something people actually do enjoy, you better knock that down $20.
The story mode gave me an extra 7 hours of content that I really enjoyed. I can only play multiplayer for so long before I'm just like, what the hell is the point? What am I doing this for now? I'm not a professional gamer. I'm not getting paid to do this, and I've played, you know, for a few days or even a month. Sometimes, I mean, when I first got into, like, playing FPS shooters and stuff, I was not an FPS person for a long time. But Modern Warfare, a couple years after it came out, I actually tried it and I enjoyed it and I got into playing multiplayer. But that lasted for a few years before I started to realize that I was like, why? These are all the same. What am I doing? Wasting my time playing the same thing I've been playing before when I could be playing something different and new and entertaining.
They're the Madden of shooters.
But I guess they did take notes. They're bringing back the Modern Warfare story, but they're rebooting it, which I don't understand. You're bringing Price back, but you're rebooting the story. I don't know what they're doing with that. But at least they're bringing the campaign back. But
are they really?
Yeah, that's a big part of what they're pushing for the next Modern Warfare. It's actually Modern Warfare, and it's like they're rebooting the whole series, which I don't know what they're doing. It's weird. But I do, as long as it's got fun mechanics, it's a decent game, story's good, acting's decent, and it looks halfway all right. Looks aren't even that important because I still enjoy playing Resident Evil, the old school. Yeah. So, you know, it's just, you got to be able to captivate me. You can't just throw boring-ass stuff on a plate and expect me to eat it.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, I guess, kind of concerns me about this next generation that's coming out. They're pushing for, you know, Microsoft with the Xbox Scarlet, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo with Switch Lite.
Switch Lite, yep.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes me wonder, like, okay, what is the next, you know, tier that we're going to go to with gaming? Like, I know we can push out, it can do X amount of teraflops, and it can do all this rendering and, you know, all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Graphically, where are we going? You know?
Yeah, I don't think there's much more we can do with how, I think this next generation of consoles is probably going to be one of the last. The next step is immersion. Or augmented reality. There's really, where else do you go? Graphically, it can only get so much better that we can actually comprehend.
I mean, honestly,
next step is to be in it.
VR didn't really take off as well as a lot of people expected, but when I got my Oculus, that was the biggest jump in gaming for me in years. Like, that was, you know, as you're going through, you're growing up, you're playing games and you're getting new consoles, you know when you have a big moment where you're like, whoa. And when I got the VR, that's what it was for me.
Yeah, it was revolutionary for gaming. I mean, just the first time doing the intro, the demo tutorial to the Oculus with the little robot and the camper was incredible. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I was completely captivated. It was awesome. But it's too expensive. If you want to play on a PC, you got to have a PC that can run it. That's already going to cost you at least $800, I'm thinking. To be able to play it decently. And then if you know, if your console, if you're going to buy a PlayStation VR, which is the only one offering it right now, you're going to spend at least $300 now buying that, and you need to have the PlayStation as well, so you're looking at $600-700 just to get the setup. It's not affordable.
Yeah.
Not worth it either.
Not for the limited amount of capabilities that it has and the games that it does.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, convenience isn't there, unfortunately.
Yeah,
like I said, it didn't take off. Like,
it's like I tell people too, like, because people get on me about shitting on VR, and I don't shit on it. I just tell it like it is. Anyway,
there's back. He's slowing down a little bit there. Now he's stepping out the walls.
Yeah, it's getting really intense. No, here's the thing. VR is a gimmick. Like the Wii was a gimmick for its motion controls, and there are games on the Wii that have really good motion controls, especially light gun games like the Dark Side Chronicles, Umbrella Chronicles, House of the Dead 2 and 3, Gunblade, and there's a couple other shooting games out there that are actually really good. And there's some motion control ones that work very well, but it was a gimmick, and it kind of fell off. And it's just like, okay, well, this is first generation motion controls. Let's see what they do with next generation. Miyamoto decided, hey, let's have a tablet that does nothing and is awkward and weird. And
then he makes the switch. He's like, you know what? Take the controls off the tablet, and there you go.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's like, you have that. That's an invention. And VR, we're first generation VR. This stuff, as cool as it can be, their games were like $30 tech demos, pretty much.
That's what it felt like for a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I keep trying to explain to people. I was like, look, I'm not saying you don't have to like VR, but this is my opinion on this, and I see where it's going, and it could get better if companies really design. Because one of the best examples of VR is Resident Evil 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is a full-on, like 6-7 hour game of VR.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's really well done.
Yeah, like could you imagine if you did something like GoldenEye from the N64, if Rare and Nintendo and the people who own like James Bond and stuff like that. If they got together and did that in VR for GoldenEye and remake that, because there's fans out there remaking the game. Yeah, it would be great. Or fighting games in VR and stuff. You could do crazy stuff like that with that kind of thing. And the possibilities are endless. It's just remember to do it. Like just because it may not have worked. I mean. As much as I'm not really the biggest Microsoft guy, I do give them credit for continuously trying with the Kinect.
Yeah.
Even though that was a thing. I'm glad they abandoned that and those holographic glasses they had and stuff like that. That was an idea at an E3. But yeah, like what I'm saying is VR, like where we're going, like VR could still be a thing if they support it. And graphic wise, you look at some of the games that are out now, especially like The Last of Us remade or the cutscenes in the Last of Us 2 trailer, and I'm at a point where I don't want my games to look so real because I like to play games to escape reality.
Yes.
If I want my movies to be Hollywood-like and everything, then I'll go see a Hollywood action movie. I don't really need my games to look realistic. Now, granted, you go back and you play something like Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, that has aged very well.
Yeah.
And that was done right, in my opinion, when it comes to gaming's, graphics and everything. So I think that, in the future, we're definitely going to see a shift, and a lot of people are like, well, you're just old, like, you're not embracing the new ways. And it's like, if that was true, then I wouldn't have an Xbox One, a gaming PC. I wouldn't have a PS4 and everything, and a Vita and a Switch.
Vita.
Hey, I love the Vita, man.
I love the Vita.
Yes. Hey, no, Sony completely gave up on that, but third-party developers literally kept the Vita alive for, its 6-7 year lifespan, so...
Yeah. That's a good system. That's a good handle.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what gaming does bring in the future to us, because we don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where it goes. I just think that microtransactions and watering down games is just kind of the death of gaming, like mobilizing console games is the death of it. So let's hope we don't continue going in that direction.
That and, trying to appeal to the casuals.
The filthy casuals.
The
filthy fucking casuals.
Let them have their whatever. What's the most mainstream game you can think of? Let them have that.
Fortnite.
Yeah, let them have their Fortnite. Yeah, let them have their Fortnite, their PUBGs. But for things like fighting games, don't dumb down and make the games easier or take away things that the hardcore players of 25 years have been following you for. The same with shooting games, because people don't understand. People's like, oh, well, it's all about online play and everything. It was like, no, it's not. First-person shooters were games that didn't have online at one point. The original Halo had an immense story to it, great campaign, and a badass
baby,
and a system link for LAN parties. So that's the thing. The things that worked in the past, we have to remember where gaming came from and why it once worked.
Yeah.
Because you can try things new, obviously, but really get a good grasp of the idea. Is this really the idea we want to do? Do we want to alienate the people that actually, give us our paychecks?
And that's the thing too. Is like I'm glad you brought up fighting games. I'm big into fighting games. And I've noticed this trend, especially when it comes to Capcom and a lot of other companies, like this whole appeal to make, because fighting games have a high barrier of entry. And so they're trying to make them so casual friendly. And it's like, no, if back in the day, okay, if we can hop in a time machine to DeLorean and go back to the 90s.
Great Scott.
Right? Fighting games were hard as shit back then. But the whole appeal was, you want to get better, so you force yourself to get better. This day and age now, and I know it crosses over into a lot of different things, society as a whole. But I kind of look at this whole thing of we're trying to give people participation points when it comes to playing a lot of games. Like, we want everyone to be able to play it. You know what? Maybe I like Sekiro being fucking hard, and I actually have to learn the game.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like with Street Fighter 5 is the best example. They try to dumb it down for the casuals and for esports, and they just completely drop the ball. And then a game that comes out like Killer Instinct, which is fundamentally sound, it's got everything to teach you how. I'd say that's the best fighting game that actually teaches you all of the mechanics with the best tutorial. And you have people that just didn't touch it. They didn't touch that game at all. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing people make videos. You had Maximilian and many others come out. Yeah, they're all like, yo, play this game. We want a sequel. And it's like, no, the people weren't even there the first time around.
Well, Street Fighter 5, they had issues with that because, again, esports. So,
yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, we need to get the casuals in. I was like, trust me, no casual is going to start picking up Street Fighter 5 and then fly all the way out to Vegas for EVO, or even go to, like, the biggest tournaments like CEO or Texas Showdown or anything like that,
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No. I just think in general when it comes to gaming, like, they just need to just make the game, and then if people want to get better at it, fine, they'll get better at it. But I think when you're constantly catering to casuals, and I've said this before, casuals are not who keeps the ball rolling.
Yeah, it's true.
So, and with the topic of VR, it's crazy because my wife played and beat Resident Evil 7 on hard in VR, and I was like,
bless her.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. Like, I damn near had a heart attack. At the beginning when the girl pops out of the wall, she starts, like, sawing your arm off. I'm like, oh, shit. I damn near tore everything out of the wall trying to get that VR off.
Take me out. I don't want to be in anymore.
And she just sat through. She played the whole thing through. But, like, if I try to have her play through it with the standard controller, she can't do it. She's like, no. She's like, I think the VR. Yeah. So it's like, I agree. Like VR is the next venture for gaming, because I really don't see how much more realistic we can get. I mean, what's the next thing? The hair texture? That's as far as we can go.
They'll keep going with the graphics. They'll keep increasing, but at the end of the day, all that matters is you got a solid story and a fun game to play.
Good gameplay, yeah. Like if you got those, like sometimes you don't even need to have a good story. Like you look at something like the original Bayonetta. Yeah, that didn't have much of a story, but its gameplay was phenomenal. It's kind of like the Devil May Cry games. Devil May Cry's stories were kind of like all over the place, but the gameplay more than made up for that with cool characters and solid gameplay.
Yeah.
And here's something else I wanted to get your guys' opinion on.
Yeah.
When it comes to survival horror games, we got Resident Evil, we got Silent Hill. Why has Silent Hill not made a comeback in the way that Resident Evil has?
Konami.
They almost did. Konami really dig that.
PT set a standard for a new style of gameplay, which everybody's been copying it since. Even Resident Evil copied it with 7, the whole first-person horror experience. But I guess they didn't have faith in Hideo anymore, and he had his issues, and once they parted ways, Konami went to shit, and we're never going to see those games again. I'm a little upset. I'm a little salty.
Yeah, I still am too, man. That's like salt in the wound. It's been like, what, 4 years? That wound just ain't healing.
And Metal Gear are dead. That's all I
That's
can say.
exactly what happened.
Castlevania's gone.
Let it die.
Mm-hmm. But hopefully they'll get smart. I'm hoping they went through a period of adjustment. I'm sure this is going to hurt their company in a big way. I hope it does. I hope it fucking burns their company. Burn to the ground. Everybody out, and they bring Hideo back and be like, Hideo, you are Konami again. Take it.
Yeah. Right?
Well, like, you really got to look at where Konami was back in the day. Like, they, not only were their arcade games fantastic, but a lot of the games that they made that were their own on the NES or Super Nintendo, and even ones that weren't their own, I think like some of the best examples are like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Konami made a bunch of the older games, especially Turtles in Time. That game was fantastic.
Konami made a lot of great games.
Yeah.
I mean, they were one of my favorite developers for a long time.
Yeah.
Because all their games, like there's so many series they have that I love and still hold near to my heart, just like Capcom. But I don't know what happened with their idea, their business model. And when I say burn, I don't mean like literally burn. Don't take me literally, guys.
Yes, he does.
I mean, I want their financial situation to open up some eyes and them to crash the stock or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
They need an adjustment of management.
Well, it's just, like, you look at the game, because, like, in my opinion, after seeing what PT was, I had no doubt in my mind that could have been the greatest survival horror game of all time, because you had Hideo Kojima behind it, and people always just like, oh, here he goes, he's sucking Kojima's dick again. It was like, no, the guy knows how to make games. He's a visionary. He always wanted to make movies, but he never got the chance to, so we got to make movies via Metal Gear, and he even worked on the Castlevania Lords of Shadows, and a lot of people don't remember that, and, there was a reason why that game was going to be so good, because he had a vision for it. This was really going to make you think and be scared, and something that hadn't really been done. And now there's a whole flooded market of like first-person horror games that are generally all the same, ones that just really don't do it. And I'm not trying to like shit on any of the indie developers or anybody like that makes them, because there are some that can be good. I enjoyed Slender: The Arrival, but
Slender was pretty good for what it was. And that's kind of another genre as well within horror, is that it's like we think of survival horror, we think of Resident Evil Silent Hill, where you have resources to fight back. But PT brought in this version of gaming that's first person where you don't have resources. It's just you, which frustrates me, because I'd be in a situation, I'd probably grab anything within arm's reach to defend myself. But they're not going to let me play the game. I don't understand it. I don't care.
That fetus in the sink, that's being hooked at your head, pal. You stay away from
it. You're catching this fetus, dude.
Yeah.
Norman fetus, go!
I'm pretty sure that in the actual game there would have been weapons and stuff. That was sort of more just the playable teaser. It was just kind of a demonstration.
What is the Outlast series or things like that, or Amnesia, where you're just running and hiding the whole time.
Yeah, I don't like that.
They're good games, but they're not scary to me, and they're not really that entertaining because I can't do much other than run and hide. Yeah. Everybody counts Amnesia as like one of the scariest games ever made. I was like, this is really boring. This is not really entertaining at all. I want
to run away, being a little bitch.
I like Outlast because it was intense, but Amnesia was really slow.
Yeah, I didn't understand Amnesia or that Soma game or whatever it was. Those didn't really scare me, and I'm easily scared. I'm a fucking fraidy cat, man. I can't go to horror movies and stuff. Like, Ali and his wife, they watch it like they're serial killers. They just start laughing when people die.
It might be. Honestly, though, that's why I think the Resident Evil series has such a fine balance between running and hiding, like from the Nemesis, or fighting back, like all the bosses and zombies, or managing your resources. It's got that really fine balance that makes it such a good series.
But I can't think of a whole lot of games that are like that now, besides like The Last of Us. How many traditional survival horror games do we really have?
A lot of indie developers are making games similar, I guess.
Like Daymare.
Daymare, that's going to be the closest you're going to get to Resident Evil, from a indie developer, I guess, or, one that's coming soon, I guess you could say, because there's a lot of other ones.
Yeah. But the gaming industry goes through trends. They went through the trend of copying PT to everything became a battle royal. We're starting to look like we're moving beyond that.
Fortnite will never
looks
die.
Like we are. and guys like PewDiePie are out there bringing Minecraft back.
I'm cool with that. I love Minecraft.
Yeah, see, and that's also technically, in a way, a survival horror game. You have to maintain resources and survive against elements of monsters.
Yeah, just staying on the same level as like 7 Days to Die or
7 Days to
something.
Die. Really, there's I think the traditional survival horror is fading away, and we're getting games like 7 Days to Die, hopefully, which are more survival, but they're open world. There's no storyline to it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. I still love that game. I'll play that for
Such
hours.
a good game. One of my
7
favorites.
Days is fun,
So
yeah.
good. If you guys haven't played 7 Days to Die and you like survival horror, managing, building, fighting enemies, you gotta check out 7 Days to Die. They don't sponsor us. It's just a really good game.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
love the game. I know
JJ,
console's not so great, but
Yeah, don't get the console version.
PC.
Yeah, PC only. JJ, didn't we spend like an entire night defending that water tower?
Yeah, yes.
And, like,
probably.
those-
Yes, we did. Yep. Because that was our water, dude.
Yeah, it was, and we went inside like that factory or whatever it was that we were outside, that waterworks, and it's like, oh, let's see what's in this store. Fuck no, there's like 5 of them in there.
Such
He
a good
fucking
game.
JJ just leaves me to die. He's like, all right, Tony, you're good. And I was like, fuck you.
Not good. Some of the best moments, like, seriously,
Yeah.
from that game.
Yeah, it's when everybody screws Tony. Yeah,
all of our great moments involve that.
Yeah, pretty
it
much.
really does when you think about it. I'm starting to realize that I'm just the fucking fall guy for this team.
Let's go back and watch our Outbreak live streams together, and I'll
Oh my-
probably pick up on a bunch of things I never realized. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're kind of all our assholes to Tony. Yeah.
Yeah,
Feel
well,
bad.
okay, look, okay, so for people watching this, that when we were playing the Outbreak series, because for those of you who don't know, Resident Evil Outbreak can now be played online via mods. You can download the emulators for it. If you go to a website called just type it on YouTube, Resident Evil Outbreak Dear Yoko. It'll probably be one of the first videos that pops up. It'll tell you how to set it up. It's great. It's
Super
fun to
easy.
play. It's literally one of my favorite online games to play of all time. And this is coming from a game that's like, 18 years old now?
Yeah.
So we're in the hospital level, and we're all sticking together, as we should as a team, although sometimes I go full Rambo and go off on people. But there was a part where I warned them at the beginning. I was like, oh, yeah, there's a part where a zombie comes through the window. Don't get near it. So the leech man literally comes through the duct. JJ decides, he's like, nope, I'm not doing this. He turns and heads the other way. One of our other guys is trying to shoot the leech guy, but his camera angle is off in the other direction, so he can't see where he's shooting. And Ali, I think, went into one of the other rooms before the leech guy came in. So I'm like freaking out. The zombie grab, like I was as Yoko. I did her dodge move. She gets on her knees and crawls away to safety.
She flops over.
Yeah, she flops over and everything and crawls away. And I crawled right into the arms of the fucking zombie, and our other guy was trying to shoot the zombie, couldn't hit him to save a life. I got pulled out the fucking window in like the first
fucking
5.
window.
Yeah, the fucking window. Yeah, the Boston accent's coming out. And I let out this whole scream, and like JJ didn't see it because he was in the other room. He's like, did he get pulled out the window?
Well, it's because you were telling us, don't go by the window. They'll pull you out. So what do? You fucking go by the window and you get...
No, I crawled away because nobody was there to help me with the leech guy, and I crawled in the arms of the zombie. So,
It was funny as hell. It was funny.
oh yeah, it's literally that and the other. What's the other? Oh, JJ, tell him the story about the lion.
Oh shit. Okay. So I hit buttons and I open things when I'm playing games. That's what I do. I want to know what things do. So I run up to the back of the truck as the teams. I got to the truck before the team. They're behind me. And I'm like, I can open this. Sweet. And like right as I go to open it, they're like, don't do that. And they just catch up. And all of a sudden, a fucking lion jumps out and pounces on all of us. And I was like, I didn't know that was in there. I'm sorry. My bad. And I ran.
And then you got me in the like back going, what did you do? What did you do? And like I turned the corner. I'm like, oh, there's a female lion. Fuck.
I mean, I admitted that was my bad.
That was my bad.
It's okay. Anything else you want me to do? It happened.
That game needs to come back. It needs a full
It
remake.
really does. So much fun.
Oh
Such a
my
good-
god. Okay, so since we're talking about Resident Evil, let's talk about Vigil. And
Right.
Your Resident Evil video game, like highly praised, universally loved. How did that come to be?
It was honestly, it was an idea that I had some idea, and the team had some idea on what we wanted to do for that. And I love Resident Evil fan games and mods, so I'm on the internet all the time, looking for these cool projects made by, passionate Resident Evil fans that I get into it, and I found this one by Moonglint, and he was working on it, showing off different things, and I was like, man, I really like what he's doing. He's like rebuilding Raccoon City right now. And so I messaged him, and I was like, hey, I got this, this idea of sort of like Ghostbusters meets Resident Evil, sort of like a comedy, sort of like, just an idea pitch, and he thought it was a great idea, so we kind of went ahead with it. We were all trying to go through ideas. This is early on. He joined. He was our only developer, but Moonglint is like, he's an animal. He's like the work of a team. But like when we first released the video, like the early on idea for the game was kind of gonna be like a parody of Resident Evil. So when we put the trailer out, it was really, we just wanted to gauge what the audience thought. We wanted to get their feedback. We wanted to work with the audience and make a survival horror game for fans by fans. Like, this was a dream come true to get to work on a game. So we just kind of threw it out there, and a ton of it took off, and so many people loved it, and it was amazing. But there was a handful that were like, this is a ripoff of Resident Evil, and we're like, now that the game has so much attention, we really should write an original story, like everything should be original. We shouldn't do the parody of Resident Evil like we wanted to. We can still do that, but we got to have all original enemies, all original story. And so we built this story for Vigil off of that, and it became its own thing, and it's really cool kind of where it went. But so that's kind of just brought on Moon. We all just discussed it, and then as time went by, the team kind of grew larger. Unicomics on YouTube and Twitter. He messaged me and he said, hey, I really like what you guys are doing. I'd like to do some art, maybe make a comic for you guys. So then we went from getting a game made to sort of side comic that explained the history a little bit more. And then he started helping out with the game a lot too. And the team kind of grew over time. Still one developer, but a lot of people are helping in a lot of different areas.
Man, that's amazing.
It's cool. It's really cool.
It's because I think we all have had that point at one point in our life where it's just like, I want to make a video game. Because as a kid, I used to, because I was so terrible at school, and like teachers were just like, well, he just doesn't want to learn. He's being a disruptive person. And I was like, I don't know how drawing in your notebooks is disruptive, but I used to create like video games, and I wanted to make my own RPGs, and it was something like Breath of Fire 3 and Final Fantasy 7 were like huge motivators for that back in the day. And even like games like Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo. So the fact that we're making our own game now, we're going to end up doing the dialogue for these characters, we're going to be in the game, like it's us exactly. Like I we showed off screenshots to my friends, and at first we're like, wait, dude, is that you? And I was like, yeah, no, like we got a game going, and it's it's just kind of mind-blowing. And Moon is doing this, like he wanted to do it. He loves our work. And it's like JJ said, he's a beast. He just does not stop. He goes full forward. It's like, dude, like slow down. You're amazing. Here's some Coke. Take a couple of days. Be happy.
Well, Moon at the same time, as much as he likes the idea of what we're doing and the story and everything, he's just like us. We just want to bring back that classic survival horror feel. So we're no longer parodying Resident Evil in a sense that we're in that story. We have our own separate thing, but we still want to bring back the fixed camera angles. We want it to feel like an old Resident Evil game that was made now, because nobody's doing it anymore. And Moon sees that, and that's why Moon's so passionate about working on it, because he wants to help bring that back.
Yeah, no, it's true. He does, and that's the thing. It's one of those things, especially in gaming now, where everything old is exciting again. Yeah. And I want to see more of a resurgence for this fixed camera angle survival horror deal. Like I want to see more people in the future get on projects like that, because we don't want these things to be forgotten. Sure, a lot of games like Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, like you can download a lot of these games on newer systems these days, but sometimes genres and games get lost to time without people talking about it. So the fact that people have been so happy with this game, and they're always asking questions, hey, how's it going, when's it coming out, like do we get like a neat thing. Which, by the way, for anybody who watches this in the future, we do like to give you guys sneak peeks, but we just don't want to show the whole thing off. We don't want to be like a Hollywood movie trailer, give you like 4 trailers and show you the entire movie.
You have nothing to look forward to then. So we're very careful with how we show things. A lot of the things you see is things we worked on months ago. but we just carefully release content.
You know, that's kind of similar to something that myself and I previously interviewed the guy. His name is Magneto. He's a friend of mine, Mauricio Herrera, and he's been working on for the last 10 years a new Double Dragon game. And
Tony, you got Tony's attention.
So
Double Dragon's good, but Tony loves it.
So no, that was just my heart skipping a beat right there. Too much coke.
Okay. Okay, you're all right, Tony?
No, I'm good. I swear.
Okay, he's good. He says he's good. All right. Continue the show.
So the game we've been working on is called Legend of the Double Dragon, and basically it's set after Double Dragon 4, and it's a game where you can do basically every move from every Double Dragon is in it. It's the basis of it is what Super Double Dragon was supposed to be. So the same story that was supposed to be. We included cutscenes in it. We've got 2 different variations, one with 80s cheesy music and one with the original music from the game itself. And the way the combat is significantly faster than Super Double Dragon, and you have the ability with the shoulder buttons, you can style switch, which means you can switch from Super Double Dragon moves to the original Double Dragon 1, the Double Dragon Arcade. You can switch to Double Dragon 2, Double Dragon 3, and how, that includes everything. So, like, how in Double Dragon 2, if you jump, like in the NES version, if you jumped, you press kick at the peak of your jump, you do the whirlwind kick, or you land and you press kick, you do the hyper knee. That's in there. And then there are mechanics from Double Dragon Advanced, such as running attacks, capture moves, and then there are other things that we've included in there from Killer Instinct and from Mortal Kombat. So you've got ultra combos and killer combos, and it's
dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's something that's it's come a long way. Officially it released free of charge about a month ago. But one of the things that I've been advocating very strongly with is getting Mauricio in touch with the original creator of Double Dragon.
Oh yeah!
And so we've actually gotten the attention of Arc System Works, the current IP holders, and it may become officially part of the timeline. But yeah, it's
dude, that's crazy.
That'd be awesome because the world needs Double Dragon. Double Dragon Neon was fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Double Dragon, I love that.
No, like Double Dragon Neon was really an amazing game. But the thing I want to see come back, because technically this game is coming back, is in one form anyway. Battletoads and Double Dragons. That has one of the best gaming soundtracks from the Super Nintendo.
Oh man, it does. It really does.
My best friend and I have played that for years, and we've only been able to beat it because of cheat codes. That game is brutal. It's both the unfairness of Double Dragons and the Battletoad game in one. Yep. And it's so much bullshit, but it's fun.
Yeah, it is so true. And that's the other thing, too, is like you see how... And it makes me sometimes look at the gaming industry and just scratch my head and wonder what they're doing, because fans can come out and make games that are leagues better.
Exactly.
Leagues better. Like, have you guys seen, like, the whole Mega Man X Corrupted? That looks better than any Mega Man game that has come out.
I think it's because of the heart. And I think that's why a lot of these indie developers are kind of killing it right now, is because they're passionate, whereas the big companies are all ran by suits that just want the profit, and not a lot of people are putting a lot of heart into their games. And I think that's kind of where you're getting that stuff. I mean, I could be wrong. Who knows?
No, I agree with you. I fully agree with you. And I will sing you guys a link to Legend of Double Dragon. I think you will love it.
Yeah, thank you. For sure.
Winding down to the last couple questions, and again, I want to be respectful of your guys' time. But one of the things I want to ask you guys is, like, with, the amount of games and interviews that Ro has covered over the years, have any of you guys, like, run into, like, the burnout? Like, I like to call it creator's block. When you're doing so much coverage and interviewing, you're reviewing games, you're checking the, social medias, you're trying to do streams. At what points have you guys hit that burnout, and how did you overcome it? Because I'm struggling with that right now.
I mean, I was at a point was putting out 3 to 4 videos a week for a really long time. And it was primarily because of the shift I was on. I was working 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I didn't really have lost my social life. So I had all this free time. And I didn't mind it at all. Like, I have enough ideas for Resident Evil videos that I'll be good for the next year. The problem is time. And there was a time where I did feel burnt out because we had we did a sponsorship deal, our first one ever, and it went really well, but there was deadlines. We had to have a lot of editing done in a short amount of time. That was the first and only time I ever felt like, man, I need a break. But as far as the creator's block, and I know this isn't the same for everybody, but I just feel like I'm so into the Resident Evil series, and I like, when I say I'm passionate about it, I am, which is why I have so many ideas, and I could talk for days. Like, I literally don't have the time to make all the content that I want to, so I've been lucky enough to not have that creative block. I get an idea, even if it's a bad idea, I write it down, I jog them, and then if I'm ever like, oh man, what video am I going to work on today? I look at it and I'm like, oh, there's all these ideas I had in here. What am I starting to, what do I want to talk about now? And I kind of go by just kind of what I'm feeling, I guess. I don't like to make content necessarily because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I just do what I want to do. And I feel like if I kind of move too far away from that, then I will get burnout and I will get blocked, because then it's just a job at that time. It's always got to be what interests me, I guess. And so I think that's what keeps things fresh.
See, and that's something I'm struggling with. And I also have to ask you, how do you balance it with work? Because it feels like you're doing 2 full-time jobs.
It does. And like I said, that shift I was on really helped, because, you're off Monday through Thursday, and, people normally do things with their family and friends on the weekend, so that helped a lot. Now I am on a more normal shift, it's second shift, Monday through Thursday, and as content has slowed down, and I think that's primarily because it's a summer, and I'm finally spending time with my family and kind of catching up on lost time. But I do feel like, like I said, you don't want to treat it like it's work, because it's just something you enjoy doing, but at the same time, when it comes to making content, you almost do have to treat that as, okay, this block, I'm going to work on this. If I get it done, great. If I don't, at least I work towards it. And then when you go take that block the next day, you're already one step closer to having that video complete. So I think it's just, you really have to try to chisel out some time and stick to it.
Okay. Because I know...
Yeah, that's true.
I know, like, with me, like, because I work for a hospital, and I'm senior systems analyst, so I do that. Usually I work anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I'm trying, and I feel like I'm hitting a point of pretty severe burnout, because like I'm going through trying to maintain that, and then with the podcast is really, like, literally I'm doing 6 to 7 interviews a week. And
yeah, you can only do that for so long, man, so you just need to balance it, dude. You just gotta, you only can do what you can do, man.
Yeah, it's like you said, you have to find a balance when it comes to this kind of thing. You can't really just go right into it, because then you're really just going to burn yourself out. You got to plan out things, and that's kind of how we do it. I mean, like with my life, I take care of a sick parent full-time, I do photography full-time, and I have my own channel where I do reviews and rant videos and stuff like that as well. So, you got to find what takes priority, and, given your popularity or how far you are along with stuff or anything like that, people, especially if you've got, like, loyal followers and you need to take a break. One thing I've learned from working in the cosplay world, from some of the girls I've worked with that have, like, 200,000 followers and even more, the thing of it is, if you got to take a break, people are still going to be there for you at the end. Some might not be, obviously, and with how YouTube works and doing stuff.
For you a little bit, but
yeah, like, you just got to find what works for you, and then sometimes just step away from it all and just do it. Because, like, for me, like, I get up in the morning, I take care of my dad, and I work on photos throughout the day. I do his physical therapy with him, I take care of business around the house. I work out, I go for my runs, and, at the same time at night, I make sure my dad has everything he needs, and I my friends want to come over, that's cool, but I still got to take care of my dad, but they come over, they play games, and then at night, I work extremely more on my photography or any videos I have, and so, like I said, I'm my own boss, so I don't sleep. I go to bed at like 2, 3 in the morning sometimes, maybe even longer, depending on my deadlines. But for me, it works because I am not super stressed out. So if you're stressed out by doing certain things, or you just find that you're not having the time, just take a step back and just be cool. Do a little coke. It'll broaden your horizons.
Man. That's what it is. That's your problem. You aren't doing the coke.
It's true. I'm not saying you gotta go full Scarface, get that yayo in you and stuff like that. No. You don't do that. No, you literally just just do a tiny line. That's all you need. And your mind opens. But don't do heroin. Heroin's really bad for you. You don't want that shit running through your veins.
No, for real though, if you're starting to feel burnt out and you're pushing 6 to 7 out a week, cut it in half, man. You don't want to overdo it, because when you really do hit burnout, like you're not going to want to do anything. You're going to be stressed. You don't have any content out, but the stress makes you not want to work on content. It's like I said, we dealt with that one time when we did the sponsorship deal, because there was a lot to edit and a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. And you just don't want to push it. If you're starting to feel it now, take the break now, or not even take a break, but just cut it in half. If this is something you enjoy doing and it's starting to become more of a job than it is fun, then it's not worth it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think more so like within the last, like from this year. So like I want to say like when I started this year back in like January, I had anywhere I think of 500 or 1,000 subs on YouTube. And then I started getting like back-to-back voice actors and some gaming industry people. And from January to February, I shot up to 10,000 subs.
That's fast.
Yeah, like it came out of nowhere, and then, my Twitter started blowing up, my Instagram started blowing up, and I'm like, okay, I got to keep up with it. And I do enjoy it. It's just the fact that, trying to do the podcast, doing the interviews, trying to keep up. The editing, and then I've also got like game companies now like are just sending me so much stuff. I got codes to review games, and I'm like, holy shit.
Don't be afraid to say no, though. That's the thing.
No, I don't want to play your trash game.
Jesus.
Well, like, did you guys go to E3? Because I flew out to E3.
And you did? That's awesome.
Yeah, that was my first E3 ever, and it's like I'm still recovering from that.
Yeah. No, here's crazy. I think we're all going to plan one next year that we can all go together. I think Ollie actually really kind of understands where you're coming from, because like I say slow down, but you guys got it different. You guys are doing interviews, so you're working off other people's schedules, whereas the videos I make, I do when I have time to do. So you guys don't really have the luxury of being like, hey, I'm just going to do this podcast then. It's kind of based off when your guest is available.
Yeah, we've done them at some crazy times. I've lucky enough to interview some people around the world, so their timelines are not like mine. So I'd be up at 3 o'clock in the morning interviewing somebody,
right?
And then trying to go to work at 6. Right. But then, I'm suffering from. I have really, really bad anxiety, and interviews are always a challenge because all the way up until the 3 minutes after the call. Like, once I connect, and about 3 minutes to 5 minutes into the conversation, all the way up to that point, I'm on the verge of throwing up, passing out, trying to find reasons why I can't do this today, panicking. I go through a whole range of crippling emotions.
Same here, yeah. Man.
But once I finally get the call and get in contact with them, the first 5 minutes into it, I relax, and I just resort back to my good listener, communicator skills, and just enjoy the conversation of being able to meet these people that I have enjoyed for so long. But it's even like that with doing streams and stuff. It takes every little bit of me to go live without canceling or getting sick. It's ridiculous, and it sucks, and it's draining. But the results of it, getting these awesome interviews, is always the good thing. Just to go into the YouTube comments and see everybody commenting on specific moments, showing their love for the guest, appreciation for us providing the content, is what allows or gives me the motivation to go do it more, and not, give up and go back into my little hole that I like to keep myself in, where things are pleasant. My comfort zone, but. Yeah, I like that. Just because the fans enjoy it and I get the opportunity to do that for them is what drives me to do more. But then there's like the editing process. An interview it's an hour could take me 10 hours to edit, because I have to go through. I clean up all the background noise. I cut out ums, yes, like all these excessive things.
A bunch of idiots when we talk. Every 2 seconds.
I can't help that sometimes I go off and sound like Jeff Goldblum.
Talking over each other, interrupting our guests. There's a lot of issues. I had a guest that stuttered and repeated like everything 3 times. So now in the interview, if you go back, I'm not going to say which one because I don't want to call out this person in at all. Their issues they deal with, but everybody that listened to it wouldn't know because I literally had to cut out every second, third times that they would repeat what they said.
Yeah.
So it's a long process to edit, and it's exhausting. And when you're busy with the family and career and your own personal things you're doing, everything else is going around. It's like I can't give up 7 hours to edit something when I have 3 projects that are due tomorrow, or something like that for school or
He's a family man. He doesn't have the money to spend on coke to do that shit. Okay.
Exactly. It's a luxury, dude. So it can be stressful, and the burnout. I know when I was streaming before I joined the row, I was going 7 days a week for 6 to 7 hours a night after I got home from working 12 hours a day. So I was getting
out coke in his system.
Yeah, I was going hard at it. I wanted to make something of it. I wanted to build that community and have fun with it, and I enjoyed it. But after a year of doing this every single night, and there's a lot of streamers that are going through this, that you don't see the numbers. And when you look at the industry, all they talk about is numbers. This person's got this many people viewing. You're only going to get recognized if you have this many viewers per night. You're only going to get partnered if you're breaking this number. Companies won't talk to you unless you've done this and you've got this many people. It's a lot. It's a lot of stress if you want to make it a career, or if it's something you really are passionate about, but you're just not seeing the success that everybody else seems to get. It burns you out really quick. And after a year of going, that hard all the time, I hit that year mark and I was like, I just can't. I can't go live. I can't deal with my nausea and my anxiety. I just can't do it. During that time period, I ended up transitioning to Row. I still carried on doing streams, but I started to cut it back because my health and well-being was more important than my content.
I don't know. Doesn't your wife have like $1 million life policy on you or something?
She probably does. She just hasn't told me about it. She's hinted a few times.
So that's why she was so supportive of you, like going out streaming 7 hours, 7 days a week.
Do it. That sounds great for you.
That's why she's planning your death. She's devious.
Yeah. But I don't know. It comes to a point of finding a balance between enjoying yourself. Don't go out there. If you're a variety gamer and you want to go stream, play the games you want to play. Yeah. People are going to tell you, well, if you're playing a game that's obscure, you're not going to get the numbers. I don't care. Because if you're out there playing Fortnite every night because that's where the numbers are and you're miserable, then why are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly. I think that the more obscure niche your like passion game is, the better, because it makes you unique.
Sure, you're not
you apart from all the others.
Yeah, you're not in a stagnant community.
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil's big, but a lot of the videos I did when I first started making videos for the channel was on the original series, A lot of people are like, why would you make videos on that? Like, nobody's paying attention anymore. And I was like, well, because that's what I want to do, dude. So I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, I think we're lucky because we love Resident Evil, and there's a big fan base for Resident Evil. And the content that, with JJ's videos and the interviews and the streams and everything that we do is pretty solid content. People enjoy it. But if you had told us to do this with something we didn't enjoy, then we wouldn't have had the success that we have because we wouldn't have had our hearts in it.
Yeah. And people will pick up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like we said about the modern day gaming industry. You can tell when the game has heart. You can tell when somebody has heart about what they're making content on.
Yeah. But you also start feeling bad, though, as a streamer or even a content creator on YouTube or something, because a lot of, once you get to a certain point, people start kind of laying out their schedules around you. Like, oh, I've got a video he's posting up on Tuesday. I'm going to make time and watch it. I know that's going to make my day better. Or they put up an interview, I'm going to listen to it at work, and it's going to make work go by fast. I'm going to be thinking about it and talking with other people. So you start holding that, too. You're like, man, I've got responsibilities. And that's the way on. You have to find a balance between being happy with what you're doing and creating the community that understands your health.
Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
When's your next stream? I don't know. 10 streams. I'm just kidding.
I do what I want. I stream what I want, and I'll stream wherever I want. Whatever. I'll stream from the bathroom. I'll be Dr. Disrespect.
Could you imagine?
I do
Somebody's just like, I'll stream wherever I want, and they're just sitting there on the shitter, just live streaming their gameplay.
Trust me, don't do that. That did not work out well for Dr. Disrespect.
What's that song? Didn't somebody do that on YouTube? They made that viral video about sitting on the toilet. Sitting on the toilet.
I haven't heard that in years.
That's you. Go make your money. Go do your thing.
Oh man.
So another thing about that is
from the toilet.
Everybody preaches about don't do it for the money, don't do it for the success, do it because you want to, and that's true. But you also lose track of that when everybody's pushing that on you. You know, when you're constantly, you start kind of stacking yourself up against other people. Be like, well, I streamed this game for this long, and this person's streaming the same game, and they got more views, and people like them better. What am I doing wrong? You start judging yourself. You got to stop that. You got to find it. Just enjoy it. You know,
can't overthink it.
Yeah, I started to think of it as like when I was young. The friends that I still have close today, we spent many hours hanging out, playing the game together. Usually me playing it and then watching and us talking about it. That's basically all streaming is. Mm-hmm. Just try and capture that. You know, make it to where it's fun. If you're going to stream twice a week, do twice a week. Have a blast. But don't be upset, you know, if you're not getting successful because there's also people that are doing this 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. That's just find your happy medium.
Yeah, there's a lot. And the other thing a lot of people have to understand, too, and this is something that people don't, like, they don't see the behind-the-work stuff. A lot of these big-time streamers and stuff, they have people who, like, edit their videos and do a lot of other things for them. So, you know, for guys like us, we don't have anybody edit our videos. Yeah. Like I said, I do the Rage Against the Game stuff, and that's just me working on those. Like, JJ and Bob Spaghetti, they'll do the streams, or I'll do a stream, and you know, I'll edit those ones. You know, like Ali will edit the interviews, or JJ will like upload them and or put some things in there too. And you know, it's a team effort for the most part. But a lot of the times, like for my own stuff, like I'll do my own streams and then I'll edit the videos afterwards and throw them up in parts on YouTube. So
yeah,
you know, you really shouldn't go into this trying to make bank because there's an oversaturation of what streaming is. You know, if you didn't start in like 2011, 2012, then that's, you know, that would have been the best time. But now just do it for fun. And if it evolves into something later on, just, you know, have fun doing it. And I think Gerard the Completionist said it best. You know, and I believe JJ and Ali had said it as well. Do what you want and play the games you want, review the games you want, do the things that make you happy. Because then you will have fun doing it. Because he's said it, like when he was talking about how the YouTube algorithm and like the Twitch algorithm was favoring, if you weren't playing Fortnite, your games would never get noticed on Twitch or YouTube. So,
not true.
What do you mean it's not true?
Oh, I mean, like if you do what you want or what you love and you're passionate about it, there's so many people playing Fortnite. So many people. Will your video be seen? Maybe. Probably not. Whereas
but I mean, like you got a better chance of you know being seen playing that and everything than if you're if you're like say like I'm playing like Resident Evil 3 and there's a big Fortnite event going on Twitch. Anything, my stuff isn't gonna get seen as much, but that's okay because I'm still doing what I'm doing. Because here's the problem: if you're kind of like what I call the one-trick pony, if you're like one of those guys who used to be like the Minecraft channels years ago. Back in like 2009, 2010, that would make all these elaborate
now
videos.
You're back, baby.
Some of them are back. Yeah, some of them are back. So bad example. But like I said, like they've been gone for years.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like they had their fame for like 2-3 years, maybe 4 years. Then the people that had 1 million subscribers and 1 million views on their videos, they ended up only getting like 200,000 on their videos. Then their content dropped heavily. So it's good to just do what you want and not what the masses like, because you'll like we have a community. Because I mean Ali, he played Devil May Cry 5 with Ruben Langdon and people love that.
Yeah. And
we might be a Resident Evil channel, but Devil May Cry and Resident Evil also have a strong history together and everything. Yeah. But I'm not saying like we're gonna go out and we're gonna play Strider or we're gonna play like Mega Man 2 on a Residence of Evil stream, but we like Fortnite to throw variety out there. Huh?
Nothing. I said Fortnite next week, baby.
Oh my god. If I wake up one day and see that we've partnered with them, I will come to your house and throw you out a window.
If they do a Resident Evil event, we might.
I just wanted to watch
it. No, I'm not selling. I can't do that. No, I can't do it. I mean,
I
the
don't know.
PUBG.
I enjoyed the PUBG one. And
No,
I
that was
dude,
fun.
got-
That was fun.
I got into PUBG for a few months where I was playing it because of it. So it worked. Everything they were trying to do worked. They got more players to come on board. But the
It was
event
more
was fun.
PUBG than it was Resident Evil, but it was cool that they had that mode. We had a lot of fun with it, and the thing was, people were like asking me, "Are you gonna play it?" And I was planning on playing it, and then they're like, "Hey, do you want to show off our thing?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I was gonna do it anyways, but all right."
I guess.
I mean, Ali was playing PUBG Mobile for so much. He needed special gloves for his thumb because he was literally getting it down to blood and raw like nerves. Okay.
It just gave more traction and movement in my.
Oh my
I'm
god!
kidding, I'm kidding.
It was getting
That's
bad.
not
His
true.
wife was gonna
That's
file
not
for
true.
divorce. Yeah, no, it's not true. Or maybe it is.
But I was playing it a lot. I enjoyed it because it was a fun mobile game that I could play wherever and just kind of get into it. But after a few months, I put it down and moved on to other things.
But
Well,
it
I think it wouldn't have been as fun if we didn't play together first.
Yeah. Well, the big thing what we like to do here is this is something that we take serious on the Residents of Evil. We don't want to just hawk a mobile game, that we don't believe in or something that we don't believe in. We want to really, if people are going to send us stuff to play, we want it to be our own natural thing. We don't want them saying, well, you can't say this about this because
Yeah, no, that won't work. That's not a review. That won't work.
yeah, that's a lie. Because what happened was when they sent Resident Evil, they talked to JJ and they're like, yeah, can we do the Switch reviews and stuff? So they sent us the copies, and I reviewed Resident Evil 0 remastered and 4 on the Switch. And the only thing they said was it's like, oh yeah, don't show any puzzles being solved and don't give away too much of the plot. And I'm just like, oh, that's
cool.
fine. Yeah.
That was actually, you did ask, have you worked with Capcom? And that was our first time actually. Like, we've worked with people that worked with Capcom. We worked with people that are a part of Capcom, but never really Capcom.
Yeah, we just recently.
But that was the
started
first time we actually partnered with Capcom. Was
this relationship like 2 months ago.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's a little hard to.
Yeah. So
set things up,
that's one of the reasons why I did those reviews, and being the only member on the team who has a Switch, I did it because they said, yeah, no, you're free to say whatever you want about it, and I was very truthful. I was truthful about the slowdowns in Resident Evil 0. I thought remastered was perfect. It was just as beautiful as it was on the GameCube and PS3 and PS4 as it was, and it ran beautifully and seemed to really run beautifully. And 4 had some kind of delay issues and didn't look as good as it did on PS4, PC, but they're still playable. Yeah. And I was very honest. And when I've done reviews for years, I've always prided myself on saying, "Hey, this is legit. No one's slipping me." Because Nintendo was we had that ambassador program years ago. I don't know if they're still doing it, but they would send people the game to review, but they would tell them what they could and couldn't say about it. And I'm just like, well, that's not really a review then. Like,
no, that's bought. You're bought.
Yeah.
That's a paid commercial.
That's a commercial.
Advertisement.
It is. It's just like, oh, well, you can be a little critical about this and everything, but because I remember like one of the biggest things I saw was when Monster Hunter World was coming out, and they sent it to Pro Jared. He's not much of a thing anymore. But they sent him it, and he even said, like, oh yeah, I'm sponsored. This is what I think about the game. And I looked into the program. I was like, yeah, you can't say exactly what you want. Sure, you can say some opinions, but if there's any glaring problems, you can't say it. And I'm just like, no, that's false advertising.
So we don't want to be a channel like that. We just do what we like doing, and we're honest.
And I think that's why Capcom, has reached out to us, because they like the fact that what we do is we do for fun. We love what we do, and we're very passionate. And that's the thing. If you don't have people who are passionate, then you just got a bunch of yes men.
Man, you need to tell Capcom they need to stop saying, no, we're not going with you this time for this game. I'm over here like, you bastards. I helped you when you came out to Hawaii and you're shooting for your games. Come on now.
Let's talk about that real quick. 'Cause you know the struggle of this. Contacting companies and actors and stuff is stressful in its own right, because you have to always expect to know.
Yeah, that's very
It sucks. It sucks really bad to be like, to put... Basically, I mean, I put my heart into pretty much everything. I'm way too much putting my emotions on my sleeves for when it comes to things like that. So I put it out there. I'm like, we have a solid thing. We're good people. We're going to do our best to give the best response. And whether it's an interview or we're doing a game or promoting or whatever we're doing. And then when they fire back at like, no, then it's like, well, what am I doing wrong? What am I not doing that they're doing? So you start questioning yourself. But to talk about like reaching out to people, if you want to get into something like that, you got to find the right contact information, which is difficult.
Yeah.
Write down a list of terms and words that are associated to gaming, like looking for point of contacts. You're looking for releases, looking for demos, looking for review copies. Write all these things down and start searching that in relation to the company, and see if you can find some. I like World War Z. We got that a copy, the review copies for that, to go out and play it and promote it, and to give our opinions on it. It took me a long time to find that, and I had to find an article that was like a year and a half old, a random article that had somebody's name in it that I was able to attach to an email. So it's crazy. It's a lot of work, but if you can get it, expect a no, be happy with a yes. Research how to write cold emails, cold contact emails, where it's don't copy it, because usually they're very generic. Try and make it your own. Put your own information in there and give us a little bit of your own life to it.
Cold emails was like making fun of them or being really rude. Like, man, that was cool.
A cold email is when your email
That's not a very nice
doesn't know you for a professional relationship.
Okay.
And that's the same thing with actors. There's a lot of websites that can give you contact information for their agencies that support them, publishing companies that support them, managing companies. You can find this information as long as you're professional and you reach out in a professional manner and explain the situation. Either you'll get a no, or you'll get a no response, or you'll get that response back saying, I'll pass it on to my client and they'll get back to you. And hopefully you get a response, and then you just work it out from there.
Yeah.
But don't give up. I mean, it's not like what we're doing is unique or special. We're just, we have a niche that we fell into where we're good at it, and you can do it too. Just, you got to be professional, and you got to know what you're doing. Do research, man.
Do your homework.
Do your homework.
Do your job. Oh, wait. No, that's Bill Belichick. I don't know why he came out. I don't know why he's telling me to do jobs.
You don't know he wasn't supposed to do that.
And that's one of the things that I when I help other content creators, like I'm actually shocked at a lot of the bigger content creators that don't know that these contacts for companies, or they don't know they can go on sites like Game Press, or they could go to just different PR sites and get these connections. And I'm over here like, man, I just Googled gaming contacts and boom, there it all is.
There you go.
It's like, and a lot of times, like, some companies won't work with you if you don't have a certain level of followers. Some will.
Yeah, it's definitely a big thing.
And I'm finding, as I am now, like I'm sitting at almost 12,000 subscribers. I'm at a point now where I'm turning down more game codes from either Square or Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo than I ever had when I was at 500 or 1,000. Like,
take codes and run.
Right? I could, but it's like the whole thing too is like, and you guys probably read through this as well, is like when you get all these codes and the stuff to review games, and then trying to balance that with like friends that say, hey, let's play a game together, and you're like, I don't have the time.
You don't. And then if
we make time, we abandon our families and our friends. We make sure that we're there for our fans more than our people we love, like that we're either married to, dating, or otherwise.
Yep, that's a funny thing about that too is holding yourself responsible to playing a game sucks.
I feel bad so many times.
I have so many games on Steam that I've went out and bought because they were horror related and they were great games that I felt obligated that I had to play on stream, that I've never played because I felt obligated that I had to play them. It sucks because I know they're good games, but I'm like, I got it because they wanted me to play it, or I felt I needed to play it in order to be one of the horror streamers or whatever.
Yeah, I got Alien Isolation because so many people recommended it, and like I've been wanting to play it for so long, but like I literally didn't play it for years because I was waiting for the right time to play it on the channel.
Yeah,
and it's like how I feel. Sometimes you gotta work your content a little odd, I guess. So sometimes the thing you like doing, like playing games, you gotta kind of put on hold so that you have the proper time and you're kind of making something out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
There's some games that are just so good though. I'm just like, nah, I'm playing this off stream. This is gonna be my experience.
Right? Like, and there's so many games that come out. Like my backlog right now is, well, probably like 2 decades old. But
I know that feeling.
You just look at it. You're like, yay! I'm gonna play this game. Then something new comes out. Fuck.
God damn it.
That was me at one point. Like when I began doing reviews back in like 2010, 2011, I was doing like some new stuff because it's called New to Retro Reviews, and I was doing a lot of retro stuff because the retro was a lot easier to do. And then all of a sudden, like 2012, 2013, 2014 rolls around, and I'm like, can I have a month where like things stop coming out, or at least one thing coming? Like I don't know how the hell Angry Joe did it years ago. Like when all that shit was coming out at once. And like him and some of the other reviewers I watched, I'm just like, oh my god, you guys must do a lot of cocaine to stay up. And
like, one day I'm gonna be like them, and I'm gonna do a lot of cocaine.
I mean, like I'm angry. I just don't have the followers, but I'm angry. I'm passionate. I'm angry. I can do it. I'm hip. I'm cool.
He's got the coke now.
But no, like that's the thing. It's just like there was a point where there was so much coming out, and there was so much good stuff. Like it's crazy. I mean, like Mortal Kombat had stuff coming out. Like when Mortal Kombat was coming out, we had other fighting games coming out. I think it was like Samurai Showdown was like the week before or something. And I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. So it gets crazy, and like as an adult, you don't have the time you once did when you were younger. I mean, it's crazy. Like me and my friends, we could game for hours, and now I can barely get them all over here because they decide to have families and get married.
Stupid.
Wait a minute, JJ, did you just say that?
I was joking. I was gonna
say, because motherfucker. I was gonna say, because you just got married, motherfucker. So, like, don't be throwing that out there.
Oh god. Okay, winding down to the last two questions because I'm trying to be respectful of you guys' times. I feel like
when I get coked up, I get real going. So it happens.
We talk.
Oh god. Okay, so let's talk about your guys' YouTube channels. Let's go through it. Tell us about it.
JJ has this thing called the Residents of Evil that I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I hear he's good with
your
it,
individual ones.
I'm like really bad at games and shit.
I don't think it's gonna last, honestly.
Nah.
I give it a year.
No, I mean like our individual channels. Or are you talking about the Row YouTube channel?
No, your individuals.
Oh, the individual ones. Okay, all right, yeah.
I was actually being serious.
No. I didn't know if you wanted us to like discuss more about the Row. I was like, I can't. But
my channel is the Row.
Yeah. I guess we all have kind of personal things, and I think that's all because we're very creative, artistic people. We like editing. We like photo, graphics, all that sort of thing. So we all kind of got side things going on. Like my channel, when I was a kid, I used to make a ton of short films with my friends, just messing around. And then as I got older, I started liking video effects. And so I would make videos just to do video effects. And then, so on. So my channel's changed. It's just random shit I like to do. Now the stuff I've been posting is just extra stuff that I don't really think fits on the Residents of Evil channel. Mm-hmm. Or I don't think is within the content flow. So if there's something I want to make, I'll put it on my personal channel. Mm-hmm. But as far as like film editing and stuff, I still like doing that. So one day I'll probably put that stuff on. But that's kind of what my personal channel is, just random stuff, whatever I'm feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I had a side channel called Beyond the Fandom, mm-hmm. where I wanted to branch out from. As great as the Row is, it's also very constricting on what we can put up for content. That's why we have these side channels to tap into other things that we enjoy. Mm-hmm. I really love interviewing actors and guests and stuff, and having people come on and getting to know them and share some stories with them. So I wanted to branch out from just the survival horror Resident Evil stuff, and I started Beyond the Fandom, which allowed me to interview some other great people. Like Wendy Lee was phenomenal. If you're a fan of anime, you've heard Wendy Lee in just about everything.
Yeah,
she's one of the OGs. She's a legend. I've been fortunate enough to interview Johnny Bosch on there. I've had some really fun guests, but we've also done some other cool things, making content. A lot of the supporters, moderators, and team members from like Tony from the Row have come over and done some work on that channel. We did a whole Outbreak series for Resident Evil, which mm-hmm. was a lot of fun. That was a full 10 episode. Well edited by Kendo, who is a big member of the Row community, does a lot of work for us with moderating and helping with editing now. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much what that channel is. It's just kind of like it's not something that I'm seriously looking into growing in. It's just a side channel to have some fun with and allow me to pursue a couple other creative things. So,
okay.
Beyond the Fandom.
Okay. So,
and for me, I have again. I've been kind of with it for years. about 2011, I started a review site called New to Retro Reviews, and the reason why I started this was because back in the day, I was getting ticked off at like these reviewers at like IGN who were clearly being paid to say good things about bad games, and they clearly, when good games were coming out...
Wait, you mean they still are, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen some of their stuff. Dude, like, a lot of their
but now they just copy other people's.
Yes, they do. Oh, that's bad. Like, their editors don't look at anything or research anything. They just take what's ever in front of them, I feel.
I knew the guy, too. He actually did that to me, too.
Oh, no.
He got what he had coming.
You know, but that's the thing, though, too, and I could probably dive into this later on, but so if you look at such and such Mushin's Hori Real Arcade Pro 5 for the Nintendo Switch Fight Stick review, and you look at mine, they're a day apart from each other, and he lifted a lot of things from mine, but also he reached out to me offline on Twitter, asking me questions about it because he didn't know anything about a stick.
So you knew exactly where he got that from.
Yep, and I still have the DMs. And I was like, man. And when I tried to say anything about it, that bigger group that he ran with, I'm not going to say their name, but I'll tell you guys offline. But they last year, they tried to bully me off of YouTube. It got so bad that like one of the YouTubers, because one of his fans asked me about Smash Brothers being a fighting game. I'm like, well, I don't think it initially was, and so they took that and just gaslighted it, and I got death threats over it.
You got lured into a trap right there, my friend.
That's messed up, man. Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah,
it came at me, came at my wife. My wife got death and sex threats, all because I wouldn't debate the guy.
Grow the fuck up, people. Like, seriously, come on.
Yeah,
grow up.
But yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like, you can't have an opinion, but that's literally the reason why I started my channel, was because I was tired of that. And there was a time where I saw how bad IGN was really getting. One of their people had decided to review the Super Nintendo Mini, and they were reviewing the unreleased in America Star Fox 2. So the way he was reviewing it, it's like, dude, you were reviewing it like the game just came out today. Granted, yes, in America it had, but if you had a ROM, you could easily do it, no problem. You could play it. But you can't review a game from like 20-something years ago like it's a brand new game of today. And I wasn't rude to the person or anything like that. And he sent all the friggin' people after me, and they're like, oh, well, he's got awards, he's got this, he's got backgrounds in this. So I was like, okay, and what does that mean? Like, he was wrong, and I'm just letting him know to be careful in the future. And like he ended up blocking me, and I'm like, dude, it's called constructive criticism. So I just got really tired of all that, and I get to do rant videos, which are really fun. They're awesome. I get to tell people how I feel about certain situations. I ask people how they feel about it. I get to do awesome reviews, but reviews have been off the channel for like 6 years because of how my life went, where everything was going with it. I didn't have time for reviews, but I'm coming back with reviews. I got ideas for more of them. I'm working on like my Final Fantasy Tactics review, favorite Final Fantasy game of all time, which shocks a lot of people. They're like, it's not 7? I was like, no, it's not 7. 7's in second place. But, I really love my channel. I love everything I do, and the people that interact and share my work, it's really good. I mean, I never expected to get famous or well-known. I've only got like 1,500 people after all these years, but, it's just really a fun thing to do, and I love doing it, and when I'm not working here on the road, that's usually stuff I'm working on.
Cool.
I mean, like links to our stuff will probably be, like, when you put this stuff online and stuff, you'll probably include links to all of our sites and stuff, too, so.
Guaranteed. That with a hit of Coke, too.
Yes!
Bump and Mr. Chow will be fine.
Right?
That routine.
I also say I do have a Patreon you can subscribe to, and if you'd like to, it will support my habits, so I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
He's got one donating tier. It's $1,000.
I was like, yes! I mean, like, honestly, if someone, gives me $50, I'll give them bath water. I'll sell them that.
Get Tony's bathwater.
I didn't say it's mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was mine.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
YouTube's gonna be like demonetized.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I don't feel bad about it.
Oh god.
I'm a bad little boy.
Oh man. So I gotta ask you guys about like when it comes to podcasting. So with the outlet that you guys are using, like, what's your hosting site, and what went into deciding like what's a good site to host your podcast, and like what are like how
It cost a lot of lives to make it happen, but it was worth it.
all the people you stepped on?
It was more just like trying to get it to as many places as possible. We originally were doing YouTube, and we still are doing YouTube. But to me, it feels like if you're going to work on something, you want to use the proper tools.
Mm-hmm.
And YouTube is great for videos, but when it comes to podcasts, they should be on, podcast streaming services. So we use Libsyn, and then it boosts it out to some Android apps and to iTunes. And so it's kind of on YouTube and iTunes and some other Android services.
Okay.
I think we should get Spotify though. That's a good one. And
that's the biggest one everybody uses right now.
It's a lot though to like upload multiple times, I guess, once you do the podcast, because you work on all the logos and all the tags and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then you gotta upload it to like 10 different places. So I try to just knock it all out of the way with Libsyn.
Well, I was gonna say, if you guys need the link, I can shoot you guys the link for Spotify, iHeartRadio, and now Pandora is actually pushing very hard for.
Yeah, probably.
podcasts.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Cause when it comes to videos, man, I'm all over it. I study that stuff. I study trends. I study the SEO. I study all that. I think it's fun to know. But when it comes to podcasts, I'm out of the loop. It's not my specialty. Researching.
Yeah, I'll get that over to you guys too, and then I know Podcast One is actually looking to put more podcasts on. They're actually going through a process of really trying to select people, and I'll get all the information over to you guys.
Thank
after.
you. Yeah, pretty cool.
So when it comes to like recording, what kind of software do you guys use to record your podcast?
The human souls that we harvest.
I mean, that always works.
Yeah, it's good.
Sorry, I've been playing too much Doom.
What do we use, Ali? You use...
Well, my interviews for communicating with my guests, Skype is usually the go-to because it's like I would like to use Discord, but Discord is more gaming oriented, and that's who they cater towards. And the general public doesn't really know about Discord or understand what it is. Skype is pretty well known. It's a good VoIP system. I've used Zoom, which is a web-based system, which is really great, but you have to pay for it every month. And sometimes it doesn't have the best quality, but what it does is it takes everybody's individual audio tracks and separates.
Oh.
So you can individually edit each individual person's volumes and background noise, and if somebody talks over someone, you can go cut out that, so you only hear the person that's talking. It was great, but it wasn't always really. It usually took a little bit of convincing from my guests to be able to want to use it, and you had to pay for it. It was a monthly subscription. But it was still a good program. It also will let you share video and stuff. But Skype does that. So Skype is good for people who are comfortable with it. You can share audio, video. You can share your desktop screen, everything. When we do our live Let's Plays, is usually using through Skype because I can share my monitor of what I'm playing, and they can see it, hear the audio, and communicate with me. So it's a good system. But it's all recorded through OBS, which is free. Yeah. Which is interesting. I know it's weird. It's probably the worst way to do it, but I'm familiar with OBS. I can record everybody, record the whole thing, and then go back into Audacity or Premiere or anything in Adobe and do the editing I need to do to clean it up.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. OBS is free, and you can record an MP3 or MP4. If you do it in MP4, then just get a program that's free to convert it to MP3, and you're good to go.
I was gonna say, you guys are big enough to get partnered with XSplit.
That's true. We could, yeah.
Yeah.
That's something we haven't really looked into, though. I think because OBS has always been there. It's always been free. So
it's always worked. All right.
Yeah, it's reliable. So we haven't really looked at XSplit. That's probably something we could approach later if they wanted to partner with us. I know we got partnered with Discord recently, which is good. It gives us a couple extra perks, not many. But being partnered is a benefit.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Like, as big as you guys are, like even with E3, you guys could go to E3 for free.
We were
probably look into that.
Not this year, but last year, which sucks because that's when RE2 was announced. But GTFO which is done by 10 Chambers.
10 Chambers.
They did Payday, the Payday series, and a few other good games.
Mm-hmm.
When I interviewed them, which went up on Beyond the Fandom, they had asked me if we were going to be at E3 because they wanted us to come by and meet them in person and play the game and do an interview live, but they weren't paying for us to come out, so which sucks. It would have been nice, but maybe we're at that point now where we can do that. We can talk to people and be like, we'd love to come out and actually walk the floor with you guys and get to meet you in person and see what you got live.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I went to E3. I only have like 11,000 subscribers. I got flown there, and I got an industry badge. You guys have over 100,000 subscribers. Come on,
something wrong.
Somewhere told no, though.
Cabin or what?
I don't know who we need to talk to, but we get a lot of no's.
Okay.
I will do coke off a guy's dick if I have to get it to eat.
Donnie, don't pour it on
E3, damn it!
Oh, you said no? Let me introduce you to my friend Tony here.
Hi!
Oh god. Okay, so we'll talk offline. Like, if there's anything I can help you guys with,
we'd really appreciate that.
I'm definitely down to help because, like, I'm over here like there's no way you guys couldn't have gone. Like, even to PAX, you guys can get in free to PAX. I mean, between your YouTube and your podcast, like, you guys are a really top-rated podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Well, the thing about PAX is, like, they don't invite anybody to those things. PAX does, like, at least PAX East, they don't really bring a lot of people to that because I go to PAX East almost every year, and they don't really have a lot there. By the time PAX East...
I've worked with a publishing company called Tiny Build, who does a lot of smaller indie games like Hello Neighbor and Party Hard and things like that. And when I was in the area of where PAX South was, when I was living in San Antonio, they would always invite me to come work with them. But it wasn't like I was there for the event. I was there to work their booth because they liked my approach to talking to people, because they could leave the booth unattended with me. And usually Tiny Build has one of the largest booths on the floor because they're presenting a lot of games and they have a lot of stuff they put up. But they felt comfortable enough that they would leave for a few hours to go out to eat or wherever they wanted, and they would leave me in control, a volunteer, which I got paid, though. So I wasn't, I guess, a volunteer. I was like temporary intern employee, I guess, for the weekends. But nobody else, like, as far as going out as a row representative, I don't even know how to get into that.
So I need to be talking to you guys and showing you guys how to do all this, because I would love to go do you guys could go to TwitchCon, like you could go to there's okay, we'll talk offline. We'll talk offline.
Yeah, but the conventions are awesome, man. I love going to conventions. I love meeting people. I love, even when I was working those conventions for Tiny Build, I just enjoy the interaction. Yeah, I've got my nerves, but that was like my environment. I loved being like, hey, come here, check this game. Here, you're stuck here. Let me show you the controls. This is how you do it. This game over here, we go and do this, and then I talk about this game. And they appreciated, like, my enthusiasm behind it. So I really enjoy the atmosphere of being at a convention, both as a guest and working convention. And we actually want to have our own convention sometime in the future, hopefully. The Row convention. We'll have to see how that works.
I mean, another thing, too, is I could possibly get you guys out, well, starting next year. I'm going to have a bigger role with the Hawaii convention.
Cool.
The Hawaii Con. So with
That'd
that,
be awesome.
I have a lot of pull with it. So
awesome.
Because I'm going to get Nick and Ruben out next year for it too. So
awesome. Yeah.
Rokon in Hawaii.
Rokon in Hawaii.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think the sad thing is I haven't met any of the people that I've actually spent this time and developed these relationships with. I haven't really met any of them in person, which sucks.
What?
I have.
Yeah, they don't. I've just never been in a place where they would. Obviously, the one up in Boston is huge. Kineticon and all that stuff is big too, so you get a lot of good guests up there. But it seems like everywhere that I go, although they're big conventions, are the guests that I know and the people that I talk to don't ever show up or come to them, which sucks.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I've still met a lot of great people though. I've had some really fun conventions, meet awesome people, and have worked out a few interviews by doing that too. That's another thing. If you guys are going to conventions, carry cards. develop, go to Vistaprint or whatever, get some cards made for your channel, for your brand, take them out there, be very nice and open and comfortable, relaxed. Don't make it awkward. Just be like, hey, I have a podcast, or I interview people, or I'd love to discuss this with you. Here's my card, or can I get your information, maybe an email or something, and don't make it awkward. But you can get interviews locked up like that too.
You definitely can, and that's one of the things too. When I went to E3, I only had 100 business cards, and I'm like, yeah, I should have came with 1,000.
Yeah, you're going to like, if you're a streamer, a gamer, content creator, you need to have branding unified. Your brand needs to be the same across all platforms.
Yep.
It needs to have the same color schemes, the same formats for text and font and all this stuff. Your design concept, all that needs to be similar. Apply that to a business card. Get 250 at least. Take those to every convention you go to and hand them out like they're freaking suckers, candy bars. I don't care. Just start giving them people. Stickers too. If you could do stickers, stickers are awesome. People love stickers.
Definitely.
I love that.
That's so
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to be so much taller than Ruben and Nick.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
You're probably taller than all of us too. Maybe not Tony. I think Tony,
I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
Oh, we're the same height then.
Oh, okay.
AJ, you're what, 5'10", like
5'10", yeah.
Yeah. We're average.
Puny ants.
We're the new average.
I am your god now.
Oh god.
Bring me virgins and coke.
Oh god. Is there any projects that you guys have in the works, barring any NDAs or anything that you can share?
Well,
Working on-
actually, we have an interview coming up soon, hopefully. I don't know how often you put these out, but hopefully within the next week here, JJ.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Keith Silverstein,
Ooh.
who is Hunk, but he's also a pretty big name in the voice acting community.
Yeah.
A lot of people would know him as Torbjorn from
Overwatch.
Overwatch, yeah. But he's also like in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He's in a lot of anime. But for Resident Evil fans, he's Hunk. And I know this has been highly requested. And he actually, after a few months of not hearing anything back, he actually got back to me, which was awesome. So we worked it out. We lined up the interview. That's coming out. I've got a few more in the works that I can't confirm or talk about. But we also have one that we did for Beyond the Fandom last year with Christopher Emerson, who's Piers Nevin. We're going to bring that to the Road channel for people that weren't following BTF and didn't get a chance to see it last year. You're going to have a chance to see. We did a live Let's Play with that one. So we played the game through Chris's campaign with Piers, and we talked to Chris, while we were playing it, which was awesome.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
We got lots of cool things planned too that I don't know if we can talk about yet, but some events coming up, and also we got more news on our game. In the future we're gonna have updates for Residents of Evil Vigil. So
Yeah.
lots of cool projects we're working on. It's gonna be busy, but it's gonna be a lot of fun and lots of things to look forward to.
It's all a lie. We don't got nothing planned. We lied. We got nothing. Look, I can't lie.
We're probably going to have the event for the 20th anniversary. I'm sure we're going to do something for that. Expect that we'll probably have some fundraisers coming up as we hit the holiday seasons and doing some live streams to raise some money. We may have some special guests come on soon or later. We're trying to arrange some things right now. I'm going to bring back our Road Christmas special this year since we didn't get to do it last year. Maybe we can get something from the new cast would be awesome. We'll see how that works.
Christmas in the RPD.
Yeah. Raccoon City.
JJ will be in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yep.
A Raccoon City Christmas special.
With carols and singing from Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, Chief Irons. I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, I think Nick can sing, if I remember correctly.
Perfect.
So.
Yeah, he can.
There we go.
He's such a Renaissance man.
Carols.
Yeah. He's a man of many talents. He's an awesome dude. The whole
He's cool.
cast has been just awesome, man. I'm just the last couple years of getting to meet everybody has been a lot of fun. But I have to say, with 7 and 2, with everything we've done with the cast for those, the cast is amazing. Both 7 and 2, they were just such wonderful people that were, wanting to get in and just do fun things for the fans and just live in this world of the Resident Evil, community for a while, which was great.
Awesome.
Just want to live.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you guys want to leave the audience with, or also, is there any advice you want to give to the audience that may want to get into doing what you guys are doing, or get into working with the industry, or YouTube, or content creation, or doing a lot of coke?
You do like coke. That's all it boils down to, baby. No, if you guys, if you just gotta be passionate about what you're talking about, you gotta really love what you're doing, because you will get burnout, or you will run out of things to do, or if you're just kind of covering a wide variety. But if you love doing it, you won't work. Also, you gotta be consistent and do your homework. Like read into, like everybody says, YouTube will hold you back. You do gotta research how YouTube works. YouTube is a game in and of itself. You have to understand how tags work, how SEO works, all that stuff. So I would say, really do your homework and be passionate about
what SEO is search engine optimization.
Search engine optimization. Yep.
Look it up.
And just the biggest thing overall, just have fun. Just
have fun.
If you're gonna do live streams on Twitch and you're worried about by yourself, grab a friend, because some of the best times that I had, especially when I do streams, is when I have somebody with me to play off. Kind of like how Nolan North and Troy Baker and the Game Grumps and Super Beer Bros and all them guys do it. If you have somebody with you, it's going to be great. You just go about it. You just try to do the best you can. Have fun with it. Don't get stressed. Fuck bitches. Make money. Just kidding. We respect women on this platform, assholes. Don't do heroin. Don't do heroin. Don't drink beer. Don't drink Jack. Just do the coke, and you'll be all set. Key to success, people. Here we go. No, just say, you just really got to laugh and have fun. Don't take it seriously, because that's when things just fall apart. If you just try to do your best with this, and like I said, have friends come on in, play in, like me and my friends, we play Mario Party all the time on stream, and people love it. If you can get people laughing on streams, it'll get tossed around out there. People will see it. You're gonna have fun with it.
Okay, definitely. Mm-hmm. Well, I think this has been a very, very fun coke-filled episode. I've enjoyed it.
I used my best stuff for this.
So I lied. I got one last question for you guys.
Okay.
Did you guys have fun?
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, anytime that all of us are together, we have a blast, and it's nice to be on the other side of the microphone for this, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and I would like to state facts right here, right now, just because it's the internet and things get blown out of proportion. I have actually never done drugs in my life.
Yeah, he doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. We probably should have started the episode. And I don't know if you want to do this. Put a disclaimer.
I will.
Disclaimer. I do not do drugs. Nor do I endorse them. No, it's just
content advisory warning on there.
For me, I've never actually drank. I never had a drop of alcohol. I've never had a cigarette. I never smoked weed. I never shot up. I never snorted anything. Not even pixie sticks as a kid. Because for some reason people were snorting pixie sticks in the second grade. I don't know why.
Do that. I don't know why.
I'm pretty sure those kids are dead. I'm pretty sure those classmates of mine are dead by now. But, I don't do any of that. It's just kind of like a running joke kind of thing. Like, you see me with my sunglasses on all the time. People are like, does he have eyes? And it's like, oh, maybe.
You know what? I know my last thoughts, I guess, in conjunction with Did We Have a Good Time was... go out there and find the communities that you want to be a part of. Up until I started doing the streaming stuff in the Resident Evil, I didn't know that there were these kind of communities to join. I didn't know there were other people. I knew there were people that loved what I loved, but I didn't know how to get with them, like to be part of that group. Mm-hmm. So look, search the forums, search YouTube, find communities that you relate to, that you enjoy, and find people in those communities that enjoy it like you do. The reason we're so good is because we are a team.
Yeah.
We play off of each other. And before we started the row, we didn't know each other, which is still blows my mind today that we've never met in person. The row team has never met.
What?
Yeah, we've never met in person. Everything we've done has been strictly through the row how we met. But we developed this family and this friendship of our team to work on this stuff together. And I have to say that's other than the hard work that JJ puts in with all the video editing that he does and how phenomenal the videos come out. I don't think we would be where we are today if we didn't have the team backing it up.
We literally are the Rovengers. That's what we are. Like the team that never met each other, shouldn't be working together, but here we are saving the internet one video at a time.
Yeah, we all have our strengths that we apply to what we do, and where we have weaknesses, the other ones pick up the slack. And
speak for yourself. I'm flawless.
Where we have moments of doubt and we fail, or we are not as confident in ourselves, somebody else in the team is there to pick you up and be like, no, this is, we're good. We're good. This is what we do.
We're good. We're good. It's fine. You're doing amazing work. Stop being a pussy. Get cowboy up. Let's do this. Come on.
You're gonna have.
I literally have no filter when it comes to motivating my friends. I will literally be that guy. It's like, look, I know things seem bad right now, but stop your crying. Build that bridge. Get over it.
Yeah.
Get plowed by some girl. You'll be all set. I said that to one of my friends who's gay, and he's like, Tony, I'm gay, right? And I was like, look, it doesn't matter in the world anymore. Just find your happiness, man. And he's like, oh my God, Tony, I can't with you. You make me so a better person. Thank you so much.
Oh,
that's the thing. Like you just gotta be a ball of fucking sunshine in a world of dreary and depression. And I got so much sunshine, it's coming out my ass. At least I hope that's sunshine.
Oh my God! Shit. We definitely have to stay in touch.
Yeah.
Totally. I think the fans are gonna be like, I think we should have that guy from Boston and put in a mental asylum.
You're like, we should stay in touch. I'm like, dude, I already booked my ticket to Hawaii yesterday. I know where I'm staying.
Joke's on you. I'm already halfway there.
Oh, man.
I left Logan Airport 2 hours ago. I've been using Discord on my phone.
Well, hell, if you guys are ever out here on Oahu and Honolulu and you need a place to stay, you can stay with us. My wife and I, we have a 3-bedroom house. We're like 5 minutes from Waikiki Beach. We're right next to all the hikes. We're right next to all the shopping centers. So we're really.
You live in Hawaii. There's always a beach around you.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's not true because everyone's like, "Oh, you're from Boston." I was like, "Yes, I'm from Boston." I don't know Mark Wahlberg. Okay, Jesus Christ.
They say that, Tony, there's always a Mark Wahlberg around you.
There's always a fucking Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark and his funky bunch. They're always around there.
I feel like he's the prototype for Boston. He's like, this is what Boston is. Mark Wahlberg.
It really is, man. Like every time someone tells me that and asks me that, I tag Mark Wahlberg on Twitter. I've been doing it for like 2 years straight, and he still hasn't seen any of it. I pray one day he does see it.
Yeah.
It's like I literally just want him to respond. It's like, hey, want to go get some booze? And it's just like, oh, holy shit, this is real. Is that check mark means it's official?
Oh,
Yep.
all right. And one last time, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me at the Residence of Vigil. Also on Twitter at JJ_TRU.
That's pretty much it. I don't really have a social media presence. Beyond the Fandom has a Twitter that I never use. It also has a Facebook that I never use.
He's the behind the scenes guy.
Network.
Yeah, social media for me is basically just sharing other people's memes.
Nice. I thought that's what social media was.
Yeah. But if you want to, I have an email if you need to contact me for anything. That's roadpodcast1@gmail. Outside of that, I read your comments on YouTube and stuff like that. And, I pay attention to the Facebook page. I don't actively participate, but I do see it. So if you guys have anything you want to say, post it up there. I'll most likely see it.
Ali is pretty much our roast Santa Claus. He's actually got a pretty bitchin' beard and everything like that. So he does see when you're naughty or nice.
Yeah. And I gotta say, if you're naughty, I'm watching. Wait, what?
That's disturbing. Giggity. Oh, no.
It sounded so much different. No, it sounded the same.
And for me, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at this is all in words, no numbers. It's _big_boss on Twitter, and that's the same for Instagram. And obviously, you can follow me on the Row Facebook page because me and one of the mods usually will reply to people with questions, and it's what we do. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's where you can follow me. I mean, if you want to follow my photography page and stuff like that on Instagram as well, I'll have them throw that down there for you guys as well, so you can follow all the cool modeling stuff, cosplay stuff that I come across and do. So other than that, yeah.
All right,
So you can find me.
And with that being said, I'll make sure links to everything, including including Tony's Coke Patreon. So
No, okay, I was gonna say you can't send them to my dealer. That dealer works for me.
Good for business, Tony.
No, fuck that. He is the business. I am the business. What is going on here? Why do I have the urge to go shoot bow and arrows with Flyer at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning? Let's go. I'm out of here. Wait a minute. Where did I go? I mean, at the same time, people are still going to be asking, look, he said he doesn't do drugs, but I've been around cokeheads, man. He's got this down to an art form if he's
Oh, my God. You know what's going to happen is people are going to start asking me, like, when is Tony going to show up again? Because every time, like, before when I used to do interviews, Michael Coleman from the voice of Cody from Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. He's awesome.
He would always pop up on my my podcast. He's like, hey, Mekel, can I get the Hangouts link? I'm like, yeah. So I send it to him, and he'd just pop up randomly, and they're like, oh, Coleman.
He's so cool. He loves the role with Cody.
Yeah.
He does. I got to hang out with that guy. I'm like, dude, Cody is you, except you don't go around just beating people up with pipes.
He's the mayor of Metro City now. He has the authority to do so.
He's the fucking mayor. Oh, okay, people.
My heart's giving out.
I know, right? So with that being said, people, links to everything, all of their social media outlets, including the Coke Patreon, will be down in the description below of this podcast, be it the video or the audio format. You'll be able to catch this podcast on youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova, as well as twitch.tv/Mekel Kasanova. And if I can catch my breath, I can get the rest of it out, which is...
Oh, he dead.
I did a quick little line right there. See, I got my energy back.
You did
Boom!
Oh, yeah!
Road Coke
Brothers!
The Road Coke is the best shit out there. You can catch this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify. God, I lost track of thought. It's everywhere. Just go search it. If anything, if you really want to find the podcast, just Google #1 podcast in Hawaii. Boom, there I am.
And don't forget to bring a towel. I know I can remember if I just get high.
Oh my God.
I am the worst.
Anyways.
With that being said, people, we are signing out. You guys have a good one. Hey, did you enjoy this episode of the Kasanova Podcast? Well, I'm sure you did. And since you did, and you're wondering where else you can find it on every podcasting outlet. Yes, that includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Launchpad DM by Podcast One, and so much more. And the only thing I ask of you is if you truly enjoyed it, even if you didn't enjoy it, please leave a rating and tell us what you thought of it, what you like, what you didn't like, and everything in between. And also, if you're looking for video formats of this podcast and many more, you'll be able to find them on youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova, as well as on twitch.tv/Mekel Kasanova, and new episodes every single Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, with that being said, this is Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber. I am signing out. You guys have a great one.